Say the word, say the word. Say the word, goodbye. Say the word and we can run around the earth and around the sun. Say the word and we can say, forget about that better place. And I know you're healing, 'cause I know the feeling. The streets stop breathing. I don't wanna let you.
you scared? I am you. Are you scared?
My head is heavy, let me lay it down. Into your lap, I would love to drown. I need that story I used to hear, to run on into and disappear. Your stories, they come from the heart, moving together and tear me apart. Burning down the walls, we let the monsters in, and now we're running down the halls. No, we can't let them win. There's an evil inside, they're just lurking way down below. And if I can't hold my breath, then I'm bound to become hollow. Can you say that I disappeared? Can you say that I wasn't there for you when you went into hiding on the front steps of your porch? And I reflected on the memories, but I put out that torch. Hey! But I put out that torch. But I put out that torch. You make me feel like home. You turn around, I feel the breeze over me. You watch your dreams unfold. Let it come around and let it breathe over me. It's time to go away into the light. I feel the coming
take a chance and let you in. Just take my hand and take me home tonight. We defeat all impossibilities. Yeah, you and me will take our hearts and run free into the into the into the
Another Sunday, another Supergirl Gamer Pro Hearthstone broadcast. It is week number 8, and it is still Dragon Rider and myself bringing you all of the action. Dragon Rider, I can't believe we're already on week 8. It feels like time has just flown by.
Yeah, it really has. It's gone so fast. So week 8, 9 weeks total for kind of the regular season, we'll say, of these weekly tournaments. And then, maybe a few week break going into the championship weekend, that first weekend of October.
Yeah, if you haven't heard the news already, we have pivoted our championships to an online format. You can read all about it at www.supergirlgamerpro.com, which is the website that we've been using to tell you about all of our tournaments, as well as the standings for all of the players and the teams. So go ahead and check out the website, and also check out our social media at SG Gamer Pro on Facebook and Twitter to keep up to date with all the action. But Dawn, in these last 7 weeks that we've had already, we've kind of started to see a clear top of the pack start to emerge.
Yeah, we definitely have. And I think one of the big fighters in that has been Nysil. We saw last week she finally took her first place. And she had previously won took second 3 weeks in a row. So she really wanted to fight for that first place, which she did get last week. But do you want to kind of talk about what our standings look like a little bit over the week so far?
Yeah, so we have a point system. Each week you can qualify or gather points for your placement in each of the weekly tournaments. And we have had a clear top of the pack start to emerge from point accumulation over the last couple of weeks. Now, when we take a look at the contenders that are in the race for our top 8, you need to be in the top 8 to make it to the Grand Championships in October. We are seeing about 9 players total right now vying for those 8 spots that have 170 points or more. So in 9th place, you've got Grumpy Kitten with 170 points, Valera Light in 8th with 190. Trojanator, our winner from last year's tournament, in 7th with 225, tied with Malira for the same number of points. Andafern is in 5th with 280. Edelweiss is in 4th with 325, tied with Linthesis for the same number of points. And then we got Nysil with her win last week, granting her 400 total. And Revi still at the top of the pack with 425 points.
Yeah, so a few of the players really kind of already ahead. They have quite a big lead up at the top there. But I'm really curious to see how kind of that 6, 7, 8, 9 pans out over this week and next week, because if 6th or 7th place doesn't have a very good week or doesn't play this week or next week, they could actually potentially fall all the way into that 9th spot and not qualify, which also gives the players who are in that 8 and 9 a chance this week and next week to get as many points as they can and really have a good week to kind of solidify them into that top 8.
We do have 2 more weeks left, like you said. And before we get into the action tonight, we're going to just take a quick break to thank all of our amazing sponsors. Thank you so much to Zenny Gaming, Nissan, US Air Force, GameStop, and the US Marine Corps. We're going to hear a little bit from them, and then we'll jump into our very first match of the night.
So I'm gonna hold on promoting you this quarter. Cool?
Drop the taco. Get in the car. Does this Sentra feel like a compromise to you?
Wait, what?
The handling, it's good, right? No compromise there.
Nope.
Watch this.
Brake.
Rear automatic braking. So if this Nissan Sentra isn't gonna compromise, why should you?
You're right.
Atta girl.
The all-new Nissan Sentra, with more standard safety features than any other car in its class.
It's not just the ships, the armor, or the aircraft. It's something more. It's the will to fight and determination to win, found inside each and every Marine that answers a nation's call. Battles won.
You can trade all the games, accessories, consoles, and tech you don't use anymore to get cash or store credit at GameStop. Check out the Trade Center on the GameStop app, visit GameStop.com/trade, or talk to a guest advisor at your local GameStop store to see how much your trades are worth.
Say the word, say the word. Say the word, goodbye. Say the word and we can run around the earth and around the sun. Say the word and we can say, forget about that better place. And I know you're healing, 'cause I know the feeling. The streets stop breathing. I don't wanna let you. Say the word, say the word. Say the I give in to the lesser fight. My body aches to be satisfied. My weakness comes and goes. My weakness comes and goes. I'm reaching out for the easy high. Please fortify this strength of mine. My weakness comes and goes. My weakness comes and goes.
For the break, we got a chance to thank our sponsors. Want to tell you a little bit more about the U.S. Marine Corps. You can find out more about them going to www.marines.com and find out about how they serve our country. But now we get a chance to get into the action. And we've got a match between our 8th place player, Valir Light, who's sitting at 190 points, and newcomer Mess Bestie to kick things off for our 16-player bracket.
Yeah, absolutely. And some really cool decks that we get to see here. Valera Light bringing kind of the Bomb Warrior with the Galakron and Kronks package at the top. A Paladin, kind of all Paladin, Libram style, and a Rogue deck that I feel like is become pretty standard. It's running a lot of the secret stuff. It's pretty much the typical, or stealth, excuse me, the typical stealth. Just a couple of hook scimitars, not a lot of weapon synergy. And then for Mess Bestie on the other side, a Demon Hunter with Star Student Stelina, which I think we did see one other week, if I remember correctly. And then this deck tops out at School of Gul'dan, and a very fast Hunter deck as well. That's not, I wouldn't say it's very common. It's kind of like a very aggressive Beast Hunter. And then a very interesting looking Rogue list that looks almost like it would be a Highlander, but it's running the Quest, the Bizarre Burglary. It's running some secret stuff with the Shadow Jeweler Hanar and a few secrets, Blackjack Stunner. But then also some Faceless Corruptors, a Harrison Jones, Galakron, and Alex Straza. Like, I'm loving the look of this deck. It's very interesting. But we did have the bans come through as well, so I do want to mention those really quickly. The Paladin has been banned out from Valera Light's side, and that aggressive Hunter has been banned on Mess Bestie's side. So we will be seeing the Warrior and Rogue for Valera Light, and then the Demon Hunter Rogue for Mess Bestie.
Gonna say, looks like we get a chance to see that super interesting rogue that Mess Bestie has put together for this week's tournament, and I'm really interested to see what these two players are going to start out on, because looking at the rogue list, it kind of looks like there's a little bit of everything in there, kind of just like the jack of all trades, but the master of none when you're looking at the different archetypes that exist for the rogue meta right now.
Yeah, and it's, like I mentioned, when you first look at it, it looks like it almost might be Highlander, but there's not Highlander cards in here, and there's quite a few duplicates. But, I think there's enough generation that maybe the quest gets completed pretty early, and then you kind of just, maybe it goes into more of a value kind of game in the mid-game into Galakron. I'm also interested to see this Harrison Jones edition. And one thing I want to mention too is that these tournaments are free to enter for anybody to play. So these lists also could be going off of that. Maybe they don't have some of the legendaries or some of the other cards that are more common in some of the lists. And maybe they just, decided, hey, this is what I have, and I'm going to kind of fill in, this Harrison instead of some of the other newer cards. That could be too. Maybe they don't have a lot of the new cards. They don't have Secret Passage in here, but Harrison Jones could be some great weapon removal and card draw all at the same time. So I'm really interested to see how this goes.
Well, especially when you mentioned that there is a hooked scimitar in Valera Light's rogue package. So, definitely targeting down maybe some of the weapons that are in the current meta, like that hooked scimitar. And then you take a look at what the Warrior is running. And obviously Warrior is going to be running some weapons of their own, especially Bomb Warrior's got the Ren Caliber. But that Harrison Jones probably finds a lot of value here. But we're going to go ahead and get right into it. Mess Bestie is going to kick things off with the Tempo Demon Hunter and Valera Light on the Stealth Rogue.
Yeah. And
the pleasure is mine.
Finds a perfect one drop there. Valera Light didn't really want to play the Celsi deckhand. The backstab, not a target for it yet, so drawing into a 1-cost stealth minion. Pretty good draw there. Really low curve hands from both sides, though. This is pretty interesting.
Looks like both of them are going to be able to get off to a pretty fast start, but the Ash Tongue Slayer coming into hand makes the perfect target for the Worgen that just came into play. And now it's time for Mess Bestie to start developing a board, but there aren't really good removal tools in hand at the moment. Instead of just using your hero power or using the Chaos Strike to give yourself attack. So I'm just kind of thinking about, what does Mess Bestie do in order to actually get this Demon Hunter off and running?
Yeah. Looks like she wanted to go for some of those fragments, and then she's gonna take advantage of the Chaos Strike, take down the 3-2. It could get a good trade onto the board there, so just take it out while she has a chance. And leaving no good trade, I guess, for Valir Light, unless Valir wants to use the dagger and kind of double hit into the 1-3, which does feel a little bit ineffective. And especially because Valir Light wants to be pushing a lot of damage face, she's not going to be wanting to make a lot of trades on the board.
Well, then I wonder if the line of play is using the dagger and then the South Sea deckhand and just leaving this 1-3 alone.
Or the backstab.
Yeah, maybe maybe going for the backstab plus the South Sea deckhand, knowing that you have a weapon equipped, and then just send all of that damage, that 4 damage face.
Yeah, I like this. One thing that's a little bit tricky here for Valir Light is there's no Greyheart Sage, there's no secret passage, so she really needs to draw into some more draw. Or she's gonna be a little bit lacking in her hand there. But on the other side, for Mess Bestie, decent size hand, a lot of different tools here, like a lot of routes she can go using a Shadow Weaver or hero power and the little panther. A hero power might be fine just because of these 2-1s on board, but there's also been so much damage. It's turn 3 and already sitting at 18 health.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of difficult for Mess Bestie in this position to develop a board against the rogue. I feel like Valir Light mulliganed for exactly the right tools that she needed. So having the ability to use the backstab early on in the game and then having those good removal tools, and now also refreshing the hand here to find some type of draw. I see a Greyheart Sage coming into hand, but no stealth minion on the board to be able to combo that with. So are you locked into... Because there's not enough mana, you can't use your second copy of the Worgen Infiltrator plus the Greyheart Sage this turn.
Yeah, that would absolutely be ideal here, but yeah, not enough mana. I'm wondering if she might be deciding between dropping the Worgen or re-equipping the dagger and playing the weapon buff. Yeah, the deadly poison, but it's so difficult which route to go. Either way, it's only one card out of this hand, and then all of these are about to go back into the deck.
Yeah, for what she had previously, which was the Eviscerate and the Sap. So, some decent tools to remove, since there's no way for Valir Light to actually develop a board in this state. But I don't think you really want to be able to sap this minion back into the hand. Popping its battle cry, and I just don't think that's quite what Valyria wants to do here.
Yeah. Job's done. Yeah, she needed a little bit more out of that secret passage last turn.
Just one more mana is what she needed.
Yeah, but the Scorpion is a pretty good answer here, allowing her to clear the board, put not only gain something on her side, but it also has the stealth. So there is now potential for the Greyheart Sage to come back into hand and get draw. This also is a pretty good sized minion, the 5/2. But for Mess Bestie here, still holding on to both of these Shadow Weavers. I like just throwing one of these out there.
I like it too, especially because we can see the Eviscerate in hand is just one off lethal for Valyria Light at the moment.
Yeah.
So needs to try to stop as much of this pressure coming out from Valyria Light as possible. Backstab. Ooh, I mean, I don't see a clean way that this Shadow Weaver gets cleared off the board.
No, without using the eviscerate, no.
Yeah, and I feel like you want to save that tool to just have a little bit of extra
many
burst damage on the face.
Absolutely, yeah. Especially putting Miss Bessie down to 13. I mean, again, look at how early it is in the game. These decks are so aggressive. It's turn 6 for Valyria Light, and she has put her opponent down to 13 already. But
Do you
yeah,
have to
just...
Do you have to trade the Scorpid here? I feel like that's such a waste of the 5 attack that you have the ability to push
Yeah.
face, but the other option that I'm seeing is use backstab plus eviscerate, but there's no good way to get the combo activated for eviscerate.
No. I mean, the other option, I guess, is just do nothing, but that also feels pretty bad.
Yeah.
I mean, just, I guess, yeah, the option could be have not attacked with the Scorpid, just keep it stealth, just try to find the last bit of damage or something next turn.
Maybe hoping the second copy of Eviscerate comes into hand to just have the clean 8 damage.
Yeah, that isn't out.
I grow impatient.
Not yet.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Okay.
That is 10 damage going to Valyria Light's face. Unless she clears the Scorpid.
Yeah, which, I mean, going for the play here, I think clearing that Scorpid is absolutely right. Otherwise, it's just lethal on the board, so definitely have to clear the Scorpid. But now this it did put Valyria Light actually at only 1 damage off lethal, but picking up a Sneaky Delinquent, not going to be a way to do any damage to face this turn.
Yeah, still 1 off. Has the Eviscerate, but not that last bit of damage. So I like setting up for the Eviscerate next turn. Or just going for it and saying, you've got to get healing or else you're going to be dead to a dagger next turn.
Yeah. Well, I like this a lot too. I think it opens up for more lethal possibilities. And it also sets up for, just in case Miss Bestie were to draw a fragment, put some fragments in the deck, draw a fragment, and set the health back to 3 instead of the 1. It does allow a little bit of counting for that as well. So the tricky thing here for Miss Bestie now is how to try to answer this, because there's no way to interact with the stealth minion, and there's no taunt. There's no taunt in hand. Even freezing Valyria Light's face, again, still leaves the stealth minion. There's just not really an answer.
Looks like Valyria Light's gonna take this game 1
Time grows short.
and bring us into a game number 2 where Valyria Light has the warrior, that bomb warrior that she's going to have to win with.
Draws into the Sinister Strike just for the kind of cool points at the end there. Doesn't even need to attack with the minion.
The flare.
That's right. So yeah, like you said, Valyria Light taking that first game with the Rogue, and will now have to get a win with the Warrior, and Miss Bestie can choose the Demon Hunter that we just saw or the Rogue list. This Warrior though, it's a little tough. We've seen it over the last handful, every week now.
Every week we've seen this bomb warrior.
It feels like only a few weeks, but yeah, there's been some variation of it. It's changed slightly over the nerfs and the expansion, but the core of the deck and what it wants to do is the same. And yeah, it has a lot more control tools now than it did. But again, we've kind of talked about this every week too. With the Galakrond and the Kronks package at the top end, some lists have even been cutting the Kronks. This list does have Kronks, but either way, just the Galakrond itself adds a little bit more damage that's possible to close out games. And there are a ton of, Double Blade Storm, Coerce, Lord Barov. There's a ramming speed in this list, some shield blocks. There's a lot of removal. There's a whirlwind. I feel like these kind of more aggro tempo style decks, they're going to be a little hard pressed to get through all of the removal and all of the armor potential from the warrior.
I'm a little worried about that too, but it looks like Mess Bestie is going to try their hand at the rogue list that they brought. So I'm going to assume that this is Mess Bestie's best chance at beating this warrior. I think the Demon Hunter would have been, if you can get off to a fast start, then maybe you can outpace the armor of the warrior, but I still think that would be super, super risky. So I like the rogue choice here.
I think I do as well. Yeah, I agree. You'd have to definitely get off to an early start, but again, like I mentioned, there's so many removal tools that, yeah, it's really difficult to try to go for a board-based plan, and if it doesn't work out, then it's a little bit troublesome. But getting this Dirty Tricks out onto the board, I'm not sure what the earliest. Maybe we'll see the coin from Valir Light here, a coin into Wrench Caliber possibility that could trigger that Dirty Secrets and get some draw going for Mess Bestie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, imagine that, the coin, or I guess maybe the shield block if you wanted to use that too. It's kind of about what Valir Light prioritizes, and I can't see the rest of the hand super clearly from Valir Light, but I'm assuming that she would want to go down the path of putting out the Wrench Caliber if she had a way to buff it up. So maybe like the upgrade in hand, or even just other pieces that can go with it, like Dr. Krastenov, for example. But you'd still have to wait a turn here, so
yeah,
I like the tempo play.
Yeah, I think the Quartermaster is fine. There could have been an argument for the coin, Wrench Caliber, but I think one of the two plays there is probably better than playing out the shield block. Generally, the shield block is going to be used on the same turn as a shield slam to kind of guarantee that armor and being able to clear something.
Well,
so I do like the order there that Valir Light played that. And this hand from Mess Bestie is looking a little empty right now.
Definitely needs that Dirty Tricks to get popped by Valir Light to be able to refresh the hand a little bit. Maybe hoping also that this Shadow Jeweler Hanar can actually stick. But this hand's looking pretty lackluster here for Mess Bestie.
Yeah. I guess just generating the Lackey this turn is probably the best bet, honestly. Mess Bestie might not really want to be playing out this Hanar and, potentially just letting it get killed, but a Lackey Faceless Corruptor next turn might just be the play. And it's kind of all that's going on in the hand, so the only way to do that is to generate the Lackey this turn with the mana and kind of set that up ahead of time. But Valir Light definitely has a lot of easy ways to take care of this.
Well, here's the Dirty Tricks. Draws the Harrison Jones, so if this last charge of the Wrench Caliber doesn't get used now, then Mess Bestie should be able to have an answer with the Harrison Jones next turn. But Valir Light's going to go ahead and use it. No sense in keeping it around, knowing that you do have a second copy of the Wrench Caliber in your deck. And a bomb super early here for Mess Bestie.
Yeah, and I think another reason too Valir Light might have attacked there is the potential for coining into Blastmaster Boom next turn. But with that draw, there's less bombs now in the deck, so less boom bots for that Blastmaster. The Jewel is pretty interesting. I don't know if that's what she wants to go for here, though.
She might need draw, so might be considering the tracking. I mean, there's a train of thought for all three of these pieces, because the Rising Winds would also give you a chance to get or have the card draw or try to develop the board.
Yeah. Ooh. Okay.
Choose soon.
No dragons in hand to be able to give it the Divine Shield as well, but the +1/+2 looking pretty good here. Like the Titanic Lackey is going to get played out to be able to buff up this Kobold. And we will now see Valyria Light figure out what to do against this Kobold.
Yeah. And I want to point out, it looked like Mess Bestie hovered over the Shadow Step, potentially wanting to Shadow Step the Lackey. And I think it's fine to not and, just save that Shadow Step for something else later. But I do like keeping the Lackey out on board just to make something like the the Blade Storms, because there are 2 copies in the deck, the Blade Storms become a little bit more awkward with a 1/1 on board, but Valyria Light doesn't need anything like that because of these Coerce copies that are also being run in the deck.
Yeah, that was a pretty clean Coerce coming out from Valyria Light to be able to remove that taunted 4/5.
Option.
And now we got a chance to see the Rising Winds that was chosen. And it looks like for the Eagles to be able to develop a board back.
Is this a Faceless Corruptor turn? I mean, there is potential to clear the entire board with the backstab and trading in 2 Faceless Corruptors.
I think this is a Faceless Corruptor turn,
Yeah.
but doesn't look like Mess Bestie's gonna go for it. Going to use the Sand Breath to make that Eagle a 4/4.
Choose soon.
And okay, using the dagger to get rid of 1 and summons another Eagle.
Choosing to hold that backstab.
Yeah, do you just Galakron here?
Probably, yeah. I think there's only, 1 bomb left in the deck. You could trade the 2/2 into the 3/2, so it doesn't feel necessary to kind of try to use a lot of removal if you really want to go board. But Valyria Light, I mean, it's definitely a value trade for her there, hitting the 2/2 into the 3/2. But she could have made the argument, honestly, to just push face if she really wanted to. Just, she has so much armor, she could have just pushed all of it face.
I think not giving Mess Bestie an opportunity to find value from the Faceless Corruptor is a really good idea. It's only a 1/2 buff, but it's still a way to be able to develop a bigger board. And now do you just... I like Mess Bestie holding on to the Harrison Jones, but boy, do you float a lot of mana that turn.
Treasure?
Yeah.
What more can I ask for?
It might come in handy now this next turn, but this is still just so much damage that Valyria Light is putting through.
Yeah, Harrison Jones almost certainly comes out here to deal with the last charge from Rend Caliber. Try to find something for Mess Bestie. Finds a Waggle Pick, but the Clever Disguise gets played out and finds a Cram Session. Our burglary also finally finished for that quest. But I feel that the quest completion is coming too late, where Mess Bestie didn't really get a chance to develop what she wanted to develop in this game. Valyria Light's just so far ahead, 38 health.
Yeah, and this backstab, not doing much here.
Choose soon.
All right. Now it's just a matter of if Valyria Light has the damage. Is there 10? I think Valera Light is a little bit short still this turn, even with our front hero power. So decides to just play out the Blastmaster Boom, still push the hero power, and kind of just try to set up for ideally the guaranteed lethal next turn.
Yeah, I think playing out the Blastmaster Boom here is a really good idea. Sets up to be able to use the Whirlwind to send most of the boom bot's face, and that should be enough to get the lethal if you're looking at even just getting a couple low rolls here. Backstab, and looks like do you use the Arcane Missiles first before you use the Harrison Jones, or do you? No, I think you have to clear the Blastmaster here.
Yeah. It's so awkward because, yeah, you guarantee if you leave the Harrison without trying to clear the boombots first that you can make the trade just like we saw, but yeah, there's such a risk with playing those Arcane Missiles and clearing a boombot that the Harrison would have died. Gonna go for... Oh my goodness. The Flame Ward at first looks so good, but against a board of Boombots, not what Mephesty's looking for there.
Well, let's see the Whirlwind come out. Boombots get a chance to go face first. We might not even get a chance to see the Whirlwind because you could even just use the Galakron hero power, but... I wanted to see the Whirlwind, but 4 damage from a Boombot. That's going to be enough of a roll to get Valera Light the win in this very first round of week number 8.
Oh my goodness, yeah. So looks like a pretty quick 2-0, and Valera Light gonna move on to the top 8 of week 8. Lots of 8s in here, I feel like, but
lots of numbers.
Yeah. How important is it, do you think, for Valera Light to have gotten this win here?
I think it's really important, especially when Valera Light is sitting at our 8th and final spot at the moment for the Grand Championships in October. A win here means that you're going to get more points and a chance to get into that top 4, where Valera Light has struggled a little bit to breach that top 4 in these past couple of weeks. It's very consistent performance, which has netted her that 8th place spot for now. But I definitely feel as though the win here is incredibly important to move forward.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's actually take a quick look at the bracket and see what else we have going on for the rest of tonight. The next match that we are going to be looking at after a quick break is going to be Revy versus Lady Triz there at the top. But the rest of the bracket here, some names that anybody who's been kind of watching over the last few weeks, these are names that are very common every week. Edelweiss versus Malira, Nysil versus Valera Light, and Linthesis versus Trojanator. So yeah, we talked again early on about a few of the placements of these players. Some of them, like you mentioned, a little bit higher up there on the bracket, and a win for some of the other players, very, very crucial at this point. So we'll keep an eye on the bracket throughout the night as we go. But before we get into that Revy versus Lady Triz match, we are going to take a short break and again hear from our sponsors. So when we get back from that break, we will get into that match. Stick around. We'll be right back.
No one knows where it comes from. Why some have it and some don't.
I like being able to look at that.
It's the fighting spirit. It
When we come
consumes
back from the
fear
break, we get a chance to look at the
and
bracket again.
weakness.
I
It
want to point out
stands
that
ready to
Kit
fight
doesn't play this
whatever
week,
shape the
and she
battle
is in
takes.
9th, and David gets in.
Because as long as there are battles,
Or do you think that's like
there will
that?
always be Marines.
I don't know, storylines?
You can mention it if you want. Yeah, that's fine. Because we talked about it at the top of the show, so I don't think it's... You know, and it doesn't show on the bracket the 16.
Hello. I know.
Yeah.
I'll mention it when we come back from the break.
Yeah.
Or Lady
I'm gonna hold on promoting you this quarter. Cool?
Drop the taco. Get in the car. Does this Sentra feel like a compromise to you?
Wait, what?
The handling, it's good, right? No compromise there.
Nope. Watch this.
Trojanator?
Rear automatic brake.
Nicolay.
So if this
Oh,
Nissan Sentra is gonna compromise, why should you?
Got it.
Right.
Atta girl.
Oh,
The all-new Nissan Sentra with more standard safety features than any other car in its class.
Well, good. Glad that got sorted.
yes. Glad
For a
Edelweiss
long
knew.
time, we had
Yeah.
to prove ourselves,
That would have been super awkward.
but we always knew what we
But
were
good.
capable of.
But yeah, I'll do this any gaming read real quick.
We knew when the time came,
when we come back from the break, and then we'll
we
show
would be
bracket
ready
one more
for
time,
anything.
just to be able to talk about how Grumpy
Our
Kitten
numbers keep
is
rising.
out to Lady Triz and talk about the matchup that we're going to be seeing next again.
And so do we.
Just in case people are tuning in, and then go into the game. Welcome back after that short break. We've already rolled through our top 16 into our top 8. Matches have been going by pretty quickly so far. But thanks again to our sponsors for allowing us to even put on the Supergirl Gamer Pro Hearthstone broadcast, and specifically to Zenny Gaming. I just want to show off these really cool specs that I got from Zenny. You can get them in prescription, you can get them without the prescription, you can get them in transition lenses. But the coolest thing about these glasses is that they're blocks glasses, which means that they're blocking out that harmful blue light from your computer. So go check them out. They're really cool, and tell us what you think. All right, so let's get into business, Dawn. We have our top 8 match that we're going to be getting into. Let's take a quick look at the bracket to show everybody exactly what we've got coming up on tap for the next couple of matches. As you can see, and before we went into the break, we're talking about Revy versus Lady Triz. Lady Triz is a newcomer for this week 8 of the Supergirl Gamer Pro, and knocked out Grumpy Kitten in a 2-0 in that top 16.
Yeah, and we talked at the top of the show about Grumpy Kitten's kind of place near the bottom, really needing a win this week, or to progress as far as possible in the bracket to try to get into that top 8. So really unfortunate for Grumpy Kitten, but pretty cool to see a newcomer come in and kind of get to see what they are all about. So let's actually start talking about the decks that these players brought. So Revy, again, a name that anybody who has, kind of been watching over the weeks, you definitely recognize Revy's name. And this week, Revy brought it actually looks almost card for card, I think, the same list, Bomb Warrior that we just saw. And then also what looks like kind of I think people are calling it kind of Tempo Mage or the Small Spell Mage with the Mana Cyclones. And then also a very fast kind of Face Hunter style Hunter deck, which has been banned out. And then for Lady Triz, we are seeing a Weapon Rogue, which still has some stealth package in there, but it works a little bit more off of the weapons and is running a few Steel Dancers. There is a Highlander Priest, which is actually the one that has been banned out, and then a kind of this all Paladin, Libram Paladin deck that has been very popular as well. So Libram Paladin and some Weapon Rogue represented for Lady Triz, and then this kind of Tempo Mage and Bomb Warrior with the Krunks and Galakrond package for Revy is what we're going to be seeing in this match.
Right, so 4 different classes represented here. If we had had the full gambit, it would have been 6. But I think the bans make a lot of sense. Lady Triz's lineup doesn't necessarily look like it can handle a super aggressive deck. And then on the flip side of things, Revy really doesn't want to have to deal with the Highlander Priest. And everybody right now talking about banning out Priest at the moment. So it makes quite a bit of sense. When you take a look at what's left, though, I'm super, super interested to see this mage, and honestly, the Paladin matchup. I feel like that's one that I have my eye on as just kind of one of the matchups we don't get a chance to see super often.
Yeah, and it's really interesting. I think the Paladin has kind of become a little bit more popular against things like the Bomb Warrior. However, because running the kind of all Paladin lists with things like the Lightforged Crusader, which is the 7-mana 7/7, that if you have no neutral cards in your hand, it adds 5 Paladin cards to your hand. Those kind of cards and the Lightforged Zealot that equips the 4/2 True Silver, those get shut off as soon as even a single bomb gets put into the deck because those bombs are neutral cards. So the variant like this actually then, instead of becoming more favored against the Bomb Warrior, it actually becomes more unfavored. So that's really interesting, the way that kind of just a few cards in a deck can really change matchups.
Yeah. Looks like the matchup that we're going to see, though, is the one that I was excited about. Here's the Paladin for Lady Triz and the Mage for Revy. So Lady Triz missing that Bomb Warrior by a 50-50. I think that, based on what you said, sounds like a pretty good deal for Lady Triz right now to be able to play out this Paladin.
I mean, the Mage is no slouch, though, and these Sorcerer's Apprentices in hand can definitely put in a lot of work. So we're gonna have to see here, but it looks like Lady Triz did end up playing out one first day of school already, and now has just drawn into the second one. So a lot of early game kind of presence and pressure already coming out from Lady Triz here. There is the mana possibility to play one of these 1-drops and then coin maybe the Hand of the Doll for a little bit of draw and kind of board presence.
Job's done.
And now a matter of how Revy will want to answer this board here. Or does she? Withdrawing some draw.
I mean, how worried are you about taking damage? Do you feel the need to roll the dice on the arcane missiles, or do you just use the card draw? I feel like, I don't know. That's a really tough call to make.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of possibilities for Revy here. She could play out one of these Sorcerer's Apprentice if she would like to, and then play the arcane missiles for free, but there is spell damage on board, so the arcane missiles already being at 4 leaves the potential, which it looks like just happened, enough mana left over, Revy can actually just hero power this down, attack for 1, and I think this worked out really well for Revy. This was kind of the answer, or kind of the result that she wanted if she were to play out that Arcane Missiles.
Yeah. Definitely works out pretty well here, and now, though, Lady Triz does have those Murlocs on board. Goody Two Shields now coming into play. So quite a bit of board development from Lady Triz already on turn 3.
Yeah. And again, now, though, Revy is kind of in a very similar spot to last turn. It's just a matter of, does she answer the board? If yes, how does she answer the board? And there's not as kind of easy of an answer. Well, I spoke too soon. Now there is, right? I mean, the Firebrand is just kind of perfect for this board here.
Yeah. That worked out pretty well, especially with the freeze. Then you get a chance to clear up the rest of the Murlocs. So I'd say you definitely got the targets that you wanted with that Firebrand. Lady Triz, though, with all of those first day of schools, has been able to develop quite the hand. And we'll be able to play out a lot of these different cards here. Libram to refresh that Divine Shield, and Dwarven Sharpshooter not going to help you, but at least it's a 1/3 body.
Yeah, the Dwarven Sharpshooter doesn't work quite well with the Paladin hero power of putting a 1/1 onto the board, but yeah, it's a body that at least can make Revy kind of answer it or do something. But yeah, the Firebrand not completely killing that Goody Two Shields last turn did allow Lady Triz to, like you mentioned, kind of refresh that Divine Shield and buff the minion in the process by playing a spell there. But Revy kind of going off a little bit this turn. And again, in what I feel like is true Revy fashion this game, just top decking what she wants there.
Yeah, that's the perfect removal tool for that Goody Two Shields.
Works against me.
Can still play out the Ray of Frost, but
yeah, it feels like a weird play and looks very odd. But I really like that decision to freeze the single minion on board, just because Paladin does have so many buffs.
Like Hand of Vidal.
Yeah, and even just the Libram of Wisdom that Revy knows is in the hand is enough to buff the 1 minion on board and kill off the Sorcerer's Apprentice. So by freezing the minion that was on board, it allows Revy one more turn with the Sorcerer's Apprentice.
Yeah.
And I mean, Lady Triz got out on board there the last turn, but still kind of some small minions here. Not really the most impactful or threatening board.
Not yet. I feel like Wand Thief was a great card to draw into. Blizzard's looking pretty good, but no spell damage and not enough mana to be able to play it out. I feel like now the choice is kind of between... Well, I guess it depends. Do you want to wait to use the Blizzard next turn, or just go ahead and go for the damage now? And I feel like the damage now is the right choice.
I like the Combustion. I was going to say, I hope that she sees the Lab Partner bonus here, because now this actually clears the whole board with that additional spell damage. And yeah, Combustion just allowing Revy to clear everything there, and now Lady Triz kind of in an awkward spot. Again, can maybe just play out a couple of small things. I guess maybe throw out the Blessing of Authority here and make this large thing, but it feels likely that Revy can find something to answer it, even if it is just a freeze.
Yeah.
Someday I'll be just like you.
Well, it's going to be Evocation, which is going to find a lot that she will be able to play out. My goodness. We're going to see a lot of spells come through. Right,
my
Primordial
goodness.
Studies. I
Ooh.
like the lab partner.
Oh, it says
Should have to play another one of those out. Here comes the Brain Freeze. 5 damage with the additional... what good ordering, too, with the Ray of Frost to be able to freeze and then deal the 5 damage plus deal all of that. And then a Fireball as well. Holy cow!
Absolutely. And the fact of things like the Ray of Frost generating that second copy, that will not be discarded at the end of the turn. That is going to stay in hand. But it doesn't even matter because that was actually
lethal.
enough damage for lethal. So Revy actually taking a kind of, I feel like a surprise lethal there by finding a ton of damage off of that evocation.
Yeah, the Fireball and then being able to remove the minion as well. I feel like she wasn't even sure she had lethal until she saw the Fireball was going to be that extra 8 damage to the face. So that was really, really fun to watch. But now that the mage is now out for Revy, we've got the Bomb Warrior with that Galakron and the Kronks package as a part of it that Revy has to win with, versus Lady Triz still has the option of the All Paladin that we saw, or going with that more stealth-oriented rogue.
Yeah, and I kind of mentioned with those cards in the Paladin, like the Lightforged Zealot and the Lightforged Crusader, it does just kind of turn those off immediately as soon as even one bomb goes into the deck. So that feels like a kind of an uphill battle. So I wonder if we are going to see the rogue.
Wow.
But no, we are going to still see the Paladin from Lady Triz here. And I think there's going to have to be one of two things that happen. Either Lady Triz will need to play out those few Crusader cards, the Lightforged cards, before any bombs are put into the deck, or just going to have to play them for tempo, or let them just not do anything.
Mm-hmm. I feel as though the other option here is that like Lady Triz is going to have to win with the Paladin deck anyway. So you may as well try your best at getting the win now if you can, get those cards and find that value, or maybe not even valuing the combo cards that you were mentioning as a part of the win condition of this deck.
I cannot wait
versus
to
the
read
Warrior.
these.
Yeah, that could be as well. It's going to be a little bit more awkward if those cards come into hand and they just can't be used for their battle cries. Because stat-wise, they aren't as good. The Lightforged Crusader at the top end is still a 7/7, so it can put out more of a threat. But speaking of threats, Lady Triz just going on board here as much as possible, trying to go for some tempo plays.
Yeah.
But Revy, sitting here with another Sword and Board, a Blade Storm, a Shield Slam, and can even discover another spell. And the Coerce. It's like a hand of removal. So I feel like Lady Triz is not going to have a board for very long.
No, probably not. So Lady Triz is going to need to be very careful not to overextend onto the board, or else that's definitely going to get punished. But it's a little awkward to use. No, the Blade Storm's perfect. You just sacrifice a minion.
Yep. And still leaves Revy enough mana to just play out the Lackey and discover. The shield block is looking pretty good here, especially with that Shield Slam in hand.
Become the hero this world needs.
Right, High Abyss Allura coming out with the coin. Pulls out, oh my goodness, the Blessing of Authority.
Wow. Well.
Yeah. There's not quite enough armor here for that Shield Slam to kill that right now.
No, you're gonna have to hope that the Coerce is gonna be enough.
And I really like this choice here by Lady Triz to actually just play out this little 1/3 pirate. It's used in Warrior. It's a Warrior card. but there's not going to be kind of the same synergy in this Paladin deck. And also, it does play around another Bladestorm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Bladestorm would stop after killing the risky skipper, but it looks like we are going to see the Sword and Board come out here, and then because it's comboed, the Coerce will just destroy the 11-14.
It was good while it lasted, but it did not last long.
Was nice, wasn't it?
All right, finds another few one-drop minions here.
I know what you did.
Lady Triz trying again to just get something on board and get these minions to do something. Good ordering there.
Nothing's been able to stick though, but also this doesn't play around another copy of Bladestorm. If Revi were to have it, we can see that that's not going to be in hand, but yeah, shield block first.
Yeah, I think at this point, Revi is starting to just look for a weapon. Two of these Horde Pillagers sitting here doing nothing. Revi really needs to get a weapon going.
I mean, do you upgrade? Do you just upgrade to get the weapon? Horde Pillager doesn't necessarily do you too many favors with that, though. It just brings that very measly weapon back.
Yeah, it's pretty awkward either way. I like the decision to just hold it here. Just hold all of it. Be patient for one more turn.
Maybe get the Wrench Caliber. That's what you're looking for.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but I feel like that buys so much time for Lady Triz to actually get a board to stick. Because now you're playing around the Bladestorm, and you've got 2 4/5s on board. That's a lot of damage.
Well, the Brawl coming into hand is pretty nice.
True.
Yep, I'm gonna play the Brawl first. I guess see what lives. Possibly can kill it off with the Shield Slam. Oh, there's exactly enough armor. That was the result Revi was looking for there.
Mm-hmm. Now Lady Triss is back to square one. Getting out the neutral cards. I like it.
Does this Cutting Clash just get played for 5 mana?
I think so.
Yeah, I think it has to. Oh my goodness.
There it is. Not enough mana for it, but there it is.
I'm going to check. There are 2 copies of Corsair Cache as well in the Warrior deck. Just one of those times where the variance kind of takes hold and just don't draw the cards in the order you want them. Kind of been the case for Revi this game, but was fortunate enough to find the weapon. Oh, there's the Corsair Cache.
Just the exact wrong ordering that Revi would have wanted. Here it is, but at least you know that you have a guaranteed way to get the second copy of Wrench Caliber. Is a 2 of in the deck, so. But the Wrench Caliber itself is not enough to get through this 4/5 to Divine Shield Taunt. Like, your your paladins are pretty protected right now.
Yeah, it's so awkward here for Revi. Can basically remove half of the board, but doesn't really do a lot for the other half. And Revi kind of has to choose which row she wants to go. And I wonder here if she is debating about even just attacking and taking the 4 just to put a bomb in the deck, but it feels really bad doing that. And you see that Lightforged Crusader come into hand, which will actually trigger and get Lady Triz 5 Paladin cards.
Wow. Can play out both of these secrets too. We've got the Noble Sacrifice and the Repentance that came into hand.
Yeah.
But I mean, Lightforged Crusader getting a chance to find value before the Wrench Caliber goes down, that's huge for Lady Triz.
Yeah,
absolutely huge.
Well, Kronks doesn't do a whole lot on its own right now. The Dr. Krastanov in hand as well. Or the upgrade. I feel like no matter what Revy does, there's going to have to be a double trade here. But those secrets also make it a little bit awkward again. I feel like there's been so many awkward turns here now for Revy. She was able to clear the board every turn early on, but now it has become just a battle every turn.
All right. Well, played around the secrets here. So, unfortunately, not gonna find. Well, found enough value. That actually works out great for Revy.
Yeah,
so
it did.
The ordering of the secrets was good. So Repentance comes out. You recognize at a certain point that your Dr. Krastanov is not going to get too much value. We'll be able to take out one minion, and then the fact that it was a Noble Sacrifice actually leaves Revy with an opportunity to take out the taunt super cleanly. But
Yep,
Blessing of Kings.
Yeah, that's not enough. This is going to be exact lethal here for Lady Triz. Finding a win with the Paladin.
Wow.
And I think what got Lady Triz there was that top deck Lightforged Crusader that got value.
Yeah.
There's potential it could have gone further if she didn't get the value from it, but that was a huge swing turn for her.
Do you think it was necessary for Revy to go ahead and like use a charge of the Wrench Caliber, hit it into the 4/5 taunt, and just get the bomb into the deck?
It might have been. I think that bumping in and just getting a bomb into the deck probably was the way to go. It was, again, we keep mentioning the word awkward, but it just
really
became
awkward.
I mean, half of the game basically Revy had super awkward turns. So maybe Revy has some less awkward turns now jumping into this game here, but this is match point.
This is match point. We are playing a best of 3 series with one ban coming through on both sides. So you have to win with both of the decks that you have left. And we are down to the last remaining deck for both of these players. So at the end of this game, someone's going to be moving on to the top 4. And someone is going to be going home with some points. Revy trying again with the Bomb Warrior. And now we get a chance to see this Rogue from Lady Triz.
Yeah, and what a great rogue hand this is for Lady Triz. I mean, there's stealth minions, there's some damage, there's a weapon, there's draw potential. It's got it all, basically, right now. And again, on Revy's side, we see no weapon. There's no Corsair cache to draw, there's no weapon. And half of the cards in hand basically could rely on some weapon synergy.
Yeah, but the Blade Storm was so smart from Revy. But there's such a good answer from Lady Triz. I really like the Blade Storm because it plays around the potential third turn Greyheart Sage. But boy, yeah, Lady Triz has a hand right now, and we're not seeing quite the same amount of removal tools that Revy did have in that last game.
Yeah. I think Revy really deciding here about whether she wants to play out this Cobalt Lackey or not. I like the decision to hold it.
Yeah, you float a mana, but the number of low health minions that Cobalt Lackey is actually going to find value for is really big. So I do like that decision to hold on to it.
And Lady Triz just throwing out the stealth, getting some draw, attacking, and again buffing up the sword, the self-sharpening sword. Gains an attack every time that it attacks. So this weapon is just becoming larger and larger, and now the deadly poison, Steel Dancer potential next turn is kind of scary. Cobalt Lackey's not going to do much against Steel Dancer.
Unfortunately not, no. So here comes the deadly poison. Yeah, we've already used 2 charges of the weapon, but yeah, here comes Steel Dancer.
Bring out a random 6-cost minion.
Wow.
Oh my gosh. And even being able to clear the board. That was really good for Lady Triz.
Yeah, I mean, Lady Triz looks like she has a very commanding position of the board right now. There's a shield block. Might find you something. This is not a good brawl board.
No.
You could shooty lackey away the sneaky delinquent, but yeah, not really enough to do multiple things at once.
I mean, there is the Barov, and then Cobalt Lackey the Barov to clear the board.
True. That does work.
Yeah. Doesn't leave anything on either side of the board, but I think at this point Revy is just happy to leave nothing on the board for Lady Triz. But so much damage here.
Yeah. 8 damage, wow. And now the weapon's gone, but Lady Triz already has Revy down to 15 health.
And the Blade Storm coming into hand would only kill half of the board.
Yeah, played around that really nicely. So shield block. Okay, finds Blastmaster Boom, but definitely can't play it. And
Treasure? Loot? What more can I ask for?
my understanding is that there have been no bombs because that Horde Villager has not procced anything. Tempo Horde Pillager does not feel very good. So, I'm definitely looking at how Lady Triz is going to be able to just continue to find value. There's double Eviscerate in hand, so that's 8 damage. Plus you have definitely enough to use both. There's not lethal quite yet, but that's 14 damage in hand, plus board.
Yeah, there's so much potential here.
I think Lady Triz just goes for it. Maybe use a secret passage.
Well, no. I was gonna say, I guess it depends on what she's looking for there, but I like just pushing the damage with this weapon. Even just playing the second Eviscerate, I think, was fine as well. Probably not wanting to play the secret passage last turn, just because there wouldn't be enough mana left over to really do anything. But
Yeah,
still,
I was thinking maybe not. If you didn't use the weapon, like maybe you found something else, but
yeah.
Another 5 cost cutting class for Revy, and that's really all she can do.
So finding a 1 cost is great to trigger this Eviscerate, and then can even play one of the secret passages to try to find something else.
I think you're looking for your last copy of Deadly Poison.
Well, there's the
Or
Toxin
just-
Blade.
or just Toxin Blade, yep.
Yep. Wow, so Lady Triz actually taking down Revy, one of the top point earners over these weeks, and now
The
we've
top
seen-
point earner.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, just new for this week and just coming in and sweeping out all of these players.
Yeah. Eked out a pretty good win with that Paladin as well. Like, you were mentioning so many problems with the Paladin versus the Bomb Warrior just because you get a lack of synergy with some of those cards, particularly the Lightforged Crusader, which was an MVP for Lady Triz in that matchup anyway. So really great play coming out from Lady Triss so far. Revi's still not going home empty-handed. You know, she was definitely looking at having another week win under her belt, but she is sitting at 425 points and I believe gets a chance to take home 25 points for today. So still at the top of the pack with 450, but this does leave room now for Nysil to come in and maybe overtake that first place spot. We'll have to see. Good stuff though all around.
Yeah, absolutely. So if we want to take a look at the bracket one more time as well and kind of see how our bracket for tonight is shaping up, kind of see where we've come from, where we're heading to next. And you can see here, Lady Triss taking that win over Revi, and Valera Light, you just mentioned Nysil, but Valera Light taking the win over Nysil as well. So those top point earners getting knocked out fairly early tonight.
Definitely opening up the door for someone else to sweep in there. We still don't know the results yet of Edelweiss versus Malira or Linthesis versus Trojanator, but Linthesis is sitting in the third place spot with 325 points, tied with Edelweiss for the same point total. So maybe this is where we start to see a distinction between these two players as well as we get into the latter parts of the bracket. But very exciting stuff so far coming out here, as I'm really excited about how this week is going to go.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's go ahead and take a quick break before we kind of wrap up these other games. So we are going to hear a quick word from our sponsors, and we'll see you in just a moment.
So I'm gonna hold on promoting you this quarter. Cool?
Oh my gosh, it's windy outside and
Drop
making
the
the
taco,
freaking
get in the
stuff
car.
in the window squeaky.
Oh, is that what it was? I was like, is that your
Handling is good, right? No compromise there.
Oh, I gotta go see about that. I'll be right.
Rear automatic braking. So if this Nissan Sentra isn't going to compromise, why should you? You're right. Atta girl.
The all-new Nissan Sentra with more standard safety features than any other car in its class.
It's not just the ships, the armor, or the aircraft. It's something more. It's the will to fight and determination to win, found inside each and every Marine that answers a nation's call. Battles won.
You can trade all the games, accessories, consoles, and tech you don't use anymore to get cash or store credit at GameStop. Check out the Trade Center on the GameStop app, visit GameStop.com/trade, or talk to a guest advisor at your local GameStop store to see how much your trades are worth.
Throwing caution to the wind. I'll take a chance and let you in. Just take my hand and take me home tonight. We defeat all impossibilities. Yeah, you and me will take
everybody. Welcome back. Quick break, and now we're going to go into another top 8 match. We have a treat for you. We've got Linthesis versus Trojanator. They are in the middle of their series, so we're going to go ahead and just jump right into the action here. As you can see, Linthesis already has a win on the board with the Druid that she brought, and will now have to fight her way with the Hunter.
Yeah, absolutely. And I believe we will be following whoever wins this match into the next match to face against Valera Light. So pretty interesting to see here. And you mentioned already in the points, Linthesis is kind of high up in the point standing, but Trojanator really fighting for a spot. So being behind a game already here, and it's not looking good health-wise. She's down to 12 health now. She's really wanting to fight to stay in this match here.
Yeah,
No.
Trojanator doesn't really look like they have too much healing either,
Oh.
so trying with the nature studies.
Find some healing though with the crystal power.
Mm-hmm.
The Animal Guardians was an interesting pick, but then also looking at the hand, there's already some beasts in the hand, and we don't know what exactly has gotten played out beast-wise already, but yeah, the healing's pretty good. Pretty good find here, but is it going to be enough?
Yeah, it already looks like Linthesis got off to an incredibly fast start here. Has the ability to play out the Face Stalker as well as double kill command. That's going to set Trojanator at 8. And then with the hero power plus the weapon, that is going to be, 3 health if she decides to play out the... Oh, she can't. She doesn't have enough mana for it.
Right. Survival of the fittest, I mean, gives a buff, but I think the broom is going to have to be the answer this turn, just to try to clear up the board.
Yeah, we can already see that there is lethal in hand, and with no taunt, that's gonna be the end of the series for Trojanator.
Well, there's
Okay, some
more
healing
yeah.
from Crystal Power. That buys some time.
Does trigger this explosive trap here. Linthesis is needing to draw a beast. Well, not a beast, but can refill the hand.
Mm-hmm.
You have to read this one.
I love Voracious Reader as a newer inclusion into the Hunter lineup. It does so well, especially when you're out of cards and trying to refresh the hand. Here it comes. There's another one.
Oh my goodness. Alright. Trojanator, though, really needs to find some sort of answer here, so looks like she is kind of digging. More ramp is not the answer.
Do you use it and use excessive mana again?
Yeah.
But what are you hunting for? Are you hunting for... Yeah, I know you're hunting for healing, but there's not going to be enough mana to play out your second copy of Overflow. And there might be another Crystal Power in the deck. One of those was a one that was found. But...
Yeah. Guess maybe just trying to find some taunt? There's one teacher's pet that is in the list. The Anubisath Defenders, if they hadn't been played already. But...
Yeah, but we don't know if a Guardian Animal's already got played or if
this is just lethal, though. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
That didn't quite hit the mark.
But yeah, Linthesis just enough damage for lethal there. Taking a 2-0 over Trojanator. And I know Trojanator has put in a lot of prep this week. Have a little bit of kind of insider knowledge just how hard she has been prepping this week. So really unfortunate to see her knocked out without kind of making it a little bit further. She really needed some more points, but even getting to top 8, I mean, she does get another 25 points. So still one more week to try to solidify a little bit more points for herself as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Trojanator struggled a little bit. Got in 2 top 4s from weeks 1 and week 2, and then when the nerfs hit, and then when the expansion came around, it just looks like Trojanator struggled a little bit to kind of get back into that top 4 standings. So has had quite a number of top 8s, but that's kind of been it. But a very consistent performance has still landed her in the top 8 so far. So we'll have to see how that goes for the rest of things, as we are going to hopefully be getting into that next game very shortly for you. I don't know if we want to go ahead and take a quick look at the updated bracket and just kind of let people know exactly where we stand on things. We do have our top 4 players. It is going to be Lady Triz, we got a chance to see on broadcast before we saw Linthesis get into that top 4. It looks like we have Valera Light versus Linthesis next.
Yes. So we did just see Linthesis kind of take that win there over Trojanator, and now we're going to follow Linthesis into the next game versus Valera Light. So let's kind of start talking about the decks that both of these players have here. We kind of jumped in mid-game on Linthesis, so we didn't get a chance to really go over what deck she brought this week. So let's start with her decks. She has a Face Hunter deck that she's bringing that does top out with the Lorekeeper Polkelt and Dragonbane. And the Polkelt there is pretty interesting inclusion, but mainly it does help to try to draw the Dragonbane into a hero power pretty early in the game. It can be consistent if you draw them quickly enough.
Yeah.
Then she's also running basically kind of that same standard type of stealth rogue that we saw earlier with the Scorpids and just the Hook Scimitars. And then also running the kind of Guardian Animals Druid list. This one is, because I know Necra likes to mention this because sometimes I miss it, but I'm paying attention this time. There's overflows in this deck. There are overflows here. And then,
that's true.
Yeah. And a little bit interesting, though, with that Druid, 2 Wild Growths. So a ton of ramp.
Yeah, that's a little unusual. Usually you get a chance to see maybe 1 copy of the Wild Growth, and then you see something else thrown in there, like a second Teacher's Pet, but we're only running 1 of those and 2 Lake Threshers. So that's just a little bit of some of those interesting decisions that Linthesis has decided to do for this Druid.
Yeah, absolutely. And then let's go ahead and look at Valera Light's deck lists here. So Valera Light is running kind of, again, this same Galakron top-end Bomb Warrior. The Paladin, again, is kind of the all-Paladin deck, the Libram list, with those Lightforged Zealots and Lightforged Crusader. And then also the stealth version of Rogue that's just running the Hook Scimitars and then the Scorpids. So let me compare here. There's only, it looks like, 1 difference in these Rogue lists, and that is Linthesis is only running 1 copy of Sap, but has included a comma, whereas Valera Light is not running a comma, but 2 copies of Sap. So slight difference there, but that is the only difference. Other than that, the Rogue decks are exactly the same.
We've seen a lot of Rogue tonight as well, and a lot of the stealth Rogue specifically, even though there are 3 different archetypes of Rogue that have been kind of hitting the field. The weapon Rogue, we've kind of mentioned, has been a little bit of seeing a little bit of play, but it's just the Hook Scimitars for both of these Rogues, stealth Rogues, that we're going to be seeing. So very interesting stuff that it's been a lot of stealth Rogue.
Yeah, and I think part of that speaks to the fact that because Rogue and Warrior have become so popular, a lot of people have also been teching kind of that weapon hate, the weapon destruction tech cards, and that has impacted the rogue quite a bit. So it's kind of made people shift towards the stealth versions of rogue instead of the version that focuses more on the weapons, just because a lot of people have been running, ooze, and we saw Harrison Jones earlier.
We
even, we haven't seen anybody running the sticky finger, but that is another option as well. So I think just because of all of that and the potential for weapon removal, it does seem like people have kind of shifted towards that stealth rogue instead.
Yeah, so we will be seeing 2 stealth rogues in this next matchup between Valera Light and Linthesis. And we've got our bans that have come through already. So for Valera Light, it is going to be the All Paladin that has been removed from her lineup. And for Linthesis, it will be the Hunter that we will not be getting a chance to see in play. So for Valera Light, it leaves us with the Warrior and the Rogue. And for Linthesis, that Stealth Rogue and the Druid.
And it looks like we are going to have a rogue mirror match for the first game.
Okay.
So I'm glad we kind of talked about the slight difference in these deck lists, but yeah, here we go. Rogue mirror. Both players will get to start out with a 1-cost stealth minion.
Mm-hmm. Seeing the Worgen from Valera. And we're also seeing a Greyheart Sage from both of these players, so really early card draw as well if the stealth sticks.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Valera Light has the opportunity to coin the Greyheart Sage, though, so she can get that card draw going a little bit faster. Linthesis here, though, going to play the Ashtongue Slayer and not attack, just get something out on board.
Doesn't want to give up the stealth for the Greyheart Sage.
Yeah, I was wondering about playing that Slayer, but with the not attacking, I guess just getting the 3/2 body is a little bit better than playing out the dagger, but I don't think I would mind just the dagger either on turn 2.
Yeah, because you're getting the same result, and then you have the dagger in case the Worgen does unstealth itself. Yeah, 2 different lines of thought there, but that Ashton Slayer is going to get removed by the Worgen, and really good turn 2 from Valera to be able to play out the Sneaky Delinquent and still have the stealth going into turn 3 for the Greyheart Sage.
A cruel fate awaits you in the ashes.
All right. And there is the only weapon. So now both players also have a copy of the only weapon being run in the deck. Truly, we are seeing a mirror match here, it feels like.
Everything you can do, I can do better.
A cruel fate awaits you.
I guess the only difference is just how these players decide to make trades versus pushing face damage.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take advantage of having a value trade there. But Linthesis now also has her own value trade she can make.
Yeah.
I like the Celsi Deckhand Hook Scimitar possibility here, though.
What about, yeah.
And just make the value trade on board, push some damage. I think she's debating about whether she wants to trade the minion or hit with the
Or use her
weapon.
face.
Yeah. I feel like I like just getting the minion in, but I can see the reason for trying to keep board. There's not a lot of removal from these decks, and these players aren't, like, they're running backstabs, but that's really the only kind of minion removal that they have, unless they want to use eviscerates, which eviscerates feel like they really want to be going face with those.
Yeah. Just that extra damage to push you over the edge for lethal.
Right.
Well, Linthesis has the board. we can see with our caster vision that there's no copies of Backstab in the hand for Valyra Light. So her best option, I mean, she could coin out Jandis.
Yeah.
Sassy Deckman's a pretty good answer too. But
Yeah.
Home in the shadows.
Pretty interesting there, I think, going for... It looks like she wants to clear the minion on board, so she chose to just dagger instead of equipping the Hook Scimitar.
just making sure I think you're finding value, but ooh.
That Krastenov pickup
That's so
seems
good.
pretty good. Yeah. So I feel like she picks the Nightblade to be the one that could die easily then.
You can't attack with the Krastenov this turn anyway because the minion
Right.
is stealthed on Valyra's board.
Right, which is why I feel like, oh, she actually went for it. Maybe she's pulling some reverse psychology here. Thinking of Valyra Light would assume that the Nightblade would be the one to take damage, so that there could be potential Krastenov, a trigger next turn. But maybe she also just decided it didn't really matter. They're both 4/4s, and again, we talked about that Hook Scimitar is really the only weapon being run in the deck. Getting a +1/+1 on the hero-powered dagger, is something, but it's not quite as impactful in this variant of the deck as it is in the weapon-focused rogue.
Yeah. Let's see. Second copy of Hook Scimitar in the deck. Valyra's going for the secret passage.
Choose soon.
Okay.
Oh, finds the backstab.
All right. Going for it. But reverse psychology worked. Oh, but the backstab was the perfect thing to be able to test which minion had the...
Yep.
I don't even know what to call it. The curse. the Jandis curse. Six damage. You could do a couple of different things here. Sneaky Delinquent plus the Greyheart Sage. You float a mana, but you do get some more cards.
Or the Delinquent and the Scorpid.
Yeah, I do.
Or just Dagger and Scorpid, but yeah, the Scorpid coming down this turn also gives stealth. Oh, look at this damage she's pushing.
Yeah, if you don't remove the Scorpid, it's lethal. You got 2 copies of Eviscerate, so...
Yeah. Yep. Those Eviscerates are just so powerful.
Oh, Jandis might find you a taunt, though.
What makes something
Let's see.
It's possible. Oh, there's one.
There it is.
I think the tricky thing here, though, is I feel like Linthesis can still have lethal here.
Yeah, she does. With the clear... Yeah, well, with the clear with the weapon, that puts Valyra at 8, which means she just has to play out the Sneaky Delinquent and the double Eviscerate, and that's game 1.
I mean, and even drawing that sap, like, she could have just played the sap on the taunt, and then there were a lot of ways there for Linthesis to find the lethal. So Linthesis takes down the mirror and takes a win with her rogue. So she will have to win now with the druid, and Valyra Light has either the rogue or the bomb warrior to take into that druid. And looking at these, I feel like the druid is at a little bit of a disadvantage here. I feel like either the rogue or the warrior have a fair chance of kind of beating down this druid deck.
Don't count the druid out just yet. I've seen Druid do some pretty crazy things. Druid's
That's
my
true.
favorite class to play, so I play a lot of these matchups. And if you are able to get the ramp, so I'm thinking specifically, like, let's say you can get like a turn 4 guardian animals or something like that, then you have a pretty good chance here. Already finding a lightning wild growth and a lightning bloom is a pretty good start for Linthesis.
Absolutely.
See if she keeps it though. I don't know.
I don't mind keeping them. At least the wild growth, even.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if she's debating about keeping the Ysera because she has these, but she might want to try to find some other answers, or maybe just hope that she can go into a guardian animals instead. Ysera might be a little bit too slow against this aggressive rogue.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. But at the same time, you have the lightning bloom in hand, and you have ramp. So
Yeah.
Ysera's coming out pretty early if you can find maybe even the other copy of Lightning Bloom. And then you so aptly mentioned we have overflows in this deck.
Yes.
So should be helpful in getting out those portals as well. But I like this from Linthesis, just going with the wild growth here. Unfortunately getting I think hoping now that the Lightning Bloom's gonna come back, seeing that
Yeah.
the Guardian Animals is in hand. But
Yeah. And no 1-drop minion for Valera Light, which feels pretty bad as the rogue, but does have the Delinquent for 2 at least. Potential to draw into Greyheart Sage, but the rest of the hand looking kind of awkward here for Valera Light in a way, so that might be good news for Linthesis and might give her that chance to ramp into what she needs here.
mm-hmm. Pretty fast start for the rogue, though. The weapon's already in hand. Not a fantastic way to buff it up yet, but you
No.
can still at least equip it.
I mean, it might even just have to be dagger and hit for 1.
Yeah, that's also
It's,
fine.
it's not exactly the kind of damage or turn 3 that the rogue is looking for, though. Alright, Olympus is getting that wild growth out that she kept from the mulligan. We're like getting that hook scimitar out, pushing quite a bit of damage here. A total of 10 damage that turn.
Yeah, what was really smart about that play, too, was holding on to the Sinister Strike to be able to get the combo effect of that hooked scimitar up and running.
Yeah, absolutely. Ooh. I feel like here might be the Speaker Ghidra and a Nature Studies. The Nature Studies is going to allow the next spell to cost 1 less.
Mm-hmm.
And can allow Linthesis to play the Guardian Animals next turn on 6 and save the coin for Exotic Mount Seller.
Yeah. Playing the coin out now, though, maybe hoping that you can get the Guardian Animals and that'll be enough. Having a little bit of a bug here. We don't know what other choices there were, but picked a Lightning Bloom from the Nature Studies.
Yeah. Might drop the Twilight Runner now? Okay, so if she plays this now, she can still play the Guardian Animals this turn.
Twilight Runner from that.
Wow, this is the kind of turn the Druid was looking for. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Is going to be a little bit overloaded next turn, but that might not be as impactful. Just because there are at least these Bog Beams in hand. Linthesis can use a Bog Beam next turn if she really needs to.
Mm-hmm.
But ideally she's going to want to save those for the turn 7 Mount Seller.
Yeah. It's gonna be a really awkward turn because you're floating mana unless you find something that's exactly 4 or 1 mana in the next draw. Because you overload here. Or if you find a Lightning Bloom, that would help too. Play the Light Thresher or Twilight Runner. Lots of chances though. Twilight Runner doesn't look like it's going to be able to be removed this turn unless Valeera finds something here.
Yeah, it would have to be an Eviscerate that she puts towards it, but
She's not doing it.
no. She really wants that Eviscerate to go Fate.
Yeah.
Did she get this out in time? I don't.
It doesn't look like it.
No. Yeah, the secret passage animation does take quite a while.
Oh, well, there's an Innervate. I think you definitely hit with the saber first.
Alright, finds Overgrowth.
Oh boy.
Yeah, this is pretty good. It looks like Linthesis is pretty well set up for the next few turns.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. Is that a sap in Valeera Light's hand? That sap
Yes,
might
it
be
is.
pretty helpful. And it would cause Linthesis to overdraw.
Mm-hmm. And since we haven't seen Yazera yet, there's a pretty good possibility that that's something that gets overdrawn. That would be pretty bad.
Good. I wonder if Valeera Light is debating whether the sap is worth it this turn.
A cruel fate awaits you in the ashes.
Just
See what
go
she
for the
finds.
draw here, yeah. Oh, can't play the Lillian yet.
Choose soon.
Not gonna stab.
In the shadows.
Okay. Gets the backstab off this turn.
Yeah. You know, I don't mind this decision either. She's getting out on board early, and I mean, somewhat early. It's still turn 6.
It would have been the Yazera.
Yeah, it would have been. But I still don't mind Valeera Light's play there. I mean, she got on board, and I think she's saving the sap for kind of the next turn or two when she's likely pushing for lethal. And if Linthesis has a taunt, another teacher's pet potentially, or actually, is there only one teacher's pet being run in the list?
There's only one.
One.
And it's gone.
But I mean, there is the potential going into Linthesis being at 9 mana. There is potential for Ysera to come down and then draw, which could put out a taunt or something in the way for Valeera Light.
Mhm.
But yeah, the Broomstick going to be able to clear up a lot of this board here.
Time grows short.
Just push the damage phase.
Yeah.
I don't mind Speaker Ghidra here either.
Just some hero power though.
I think that going for the health is smart.
Yeah.
Even just that one extra armor can be the difference maker between lethal or not. All right.
So many options.
A lot of damage in hand. Deadly Poison, Eviscerate, Sousy Deckhand, Hero Power. No Taunt. But you definitely can't keep this board around for Linthesis, so
No.
you're using some of these resources, some of this damage to clear.
Evil lurks in these halls. Choose soon.
Yeah. feels a little bad on the Valyria Light side to have to trade like that. And now what it does is it basically just gives Linthasys all of this initiative. There's not really opportunity to play a lot of spells here, though, with this Exotic Mount Seller. Just because the Bog Beams would be the easiest, but there's no available minions to use the Bog Beams on.
Yeah, you can't even speak your Ghidra here and overflow. You're
No.
overdrawing so much. This honestly to me feels more like...
Let's see.
I don't know. Okay, Innervate.
Nature.
Oh, you're just going for it. Okay.
Yeah, I think she's maybe hoping for an Iron Bark.
My hand overflows.
Overdraws Crystal
Time
Power.
goes short.
Alright, you're only overdrawing one card, so that's not too bad. Let's see if you can Nature Studies here to find something. And also Crystal Power.
Yeah, the Crystal Power before the Nature Studies.
Yes, very smart.
Is good here. You don't get to see the choices, but Crystal Power.
again.
What makes something real?
I feel like Linthasys might have been trying to find an Iron Bark, although with the sap in hand, it wouldn't have really had the same effect. There are 2 copies of Iron Bark in the deck for Linthasys.
So many options.
These are not quite the best choices for Valyria.
Not really, no. It's definitely hoping for some kind of taunt.
Yeah.
Or
I mean, yeah, some sort of death rattle or something.
something with a little bit more sticking power for sure.
Yeah. Or even some, we saw it in the previous game, even a Dr. Krastenal, just to buff up that weapon and push that little bit more damage. But now with this board, this is the turn where Linthasys can kind of go all in on this Mount Seller. A lot of tools here.
Oh, the nature studies, though. Bog Beam's gonna be pretty useful here, though.
There's one taunt.
Mm-hmm. Let's see what the lyric picked. That was it.
And finding this rush seems pretty good as well.
Absolutely.
Time goes short.
Clear. Leave 1 minion on the board, but Linthasys is all the way back to 25 health. Wow, she's really been able to stay alive through everything that Valyria Light has done so far.
I wonder.
What can Valyria Light do here?
Yeah, I'm just trying to think about the same thing. Every turn, Linthasys gets farther and farther away from that burst damage lethal that Valyria has been looking for.
Yep. And this feels a little bit awkward for Valyria Light as well. If she wants to try to kill this Mount Seller, she's going to put a lot into it here.
Yeah, would have to use the
Basically
Eviscerate and the
everything.
Deadly Poison. Oh,
Yeah.
is just going to ignore it. I don't agree with that choice.
See, I don't know. I think this is her only option at this point. I think if she puts all
Yeah.
of those resources into killing the one Mount Seller, there's no way she has enough to try to push through and win at this point
Oh,
if she
you're
doesn't.
right. It just feels super bad to have
Yes.
to push all that damage that way.
Yeah, it absolutely does. There's an Iron Bark. And another Rush minion as well. This is just... This to me, this turn kind of is just closing out the game. I don't know how Valyria Light comes back from this.
Yeah.
I
Two taunts on the
don't-
board, and
Yeah.
there's still the option. Well, the second overflow just got used as well, so all of the damage that Valyria Light was able to do has now been undone.
Yeah.
Backstab's not going to be enough, and there's definitely lethal on board, so that's it. 2-0 for Linthesis.
Wow. So Linthesis just taking some series. I mean, we have just kind of seen her do really well these last several games. And, you know, Valyria Light really tried. She tried to do as much as she could, but just could not find anything there. And I really do think a big thing for her, especially in that Druid matchup, that really hindered her was right from the beginning when she didn't have a 1-drop to play early on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So-
that was really tough. Just maybe not getting off onto the right foot with the rogue, because ultimately you're right that the druid can be hard to get through the rogue, especially with the fast starts that the rogue can have, and just like the card draw, and sometimes the druid just can't get there. But with the ramp that we got a chance to see coming through for Linthesis's druid, it was definitely going to be a tough one for the rogue when they didn't get that 1-drop.
Yeah. So with that win, Linthesis actually moves into the finals, and it does look like we are still waiting on the other top 4 match that's going on between Lady Triz and Melira. So we're going to find out about potentially jumping into that match, but I'm not sure at this point kind of where they're at in the game. But where is Linthesis in our point standing before this week?
Linthesis has been doing phenomenally well, tied with Edelweiss, and Edelweiss unfortunately got knocked out in our top 8 bracket to Melira in a 2-0. So the lead is now going to intensify for Linthesis. Linthesis has already secured 2 first places in week 4 and week 5 back to back. And with the rest of her finishes has netted herself 325 points. But with today moving into the grand finals, you're guaranteed 75 or 100. So
Yeah.
definitely going to make sure that we have a divisive 3rd and 4th place now.
Perfect. Yeah, that is really good news for Linthesis, and some good news for all of us. We are going to be jumping into game number 2 of our other top 4 match that is going on between Lady Triz and Melira. So hopefully we will be getting into that in just one moment here. But Lady Triz, we've kind of talked about this kind of newcomer and already in the top 4, looking to potentially get into the finals. So she's just kind of come in and caused a scene in a very good way. But yeah, that is very surprising, I feel like.
Yeah, what's really surprising is that not only did Lady Triz come in out of nowhere, but took out Grumpy Kitten, who is our currently 9th place player, took out Revy, our number 1 player, and is poised to take out Melira as well, already with a game win, who is sitting in our 6th position on the board. So Lady Triz has definitely come in and made some waves, and I'm super excited to see the rest of the series and see how it's going to go. Lady Triz already has a game lead over Melira, so that's what we'll be jumping into as we get into the match.
Wow. And just want to mention, because we haven't seen Melira yet, so Melira is running a druid, and a Highlander hunter list. She did bring a priest that got banned out, and Lady Triz had to play a priest and rogue. So looks like with that game win was on the rogue, so now has to win with this priest here that we see on screen. Looks like Melira has a decent board here, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, at a certain point, I believe used a guardian animals in order to actually get the double teacher's pets on board, and then played out this Twilight Runner in its stealthed form. So, really, really fast start for Melira. I'm just expecting that we got a chance to see some ramp already come through. In this particular version of the Druid deck that Melira is running, there are 2 Breath of Dreams in this deck, and 1 Wild Growth, plus the 2 normal copies of Overgrowth.
And speaking of Overgrowth, we see one of those in hand right now, but this is not a turn that Melira wants to be ramping. It looks like she is going in on this Mount Seller. Ooh, the Soul of the Forest is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
With that board out. And the next spell is discounted by 1 because of the nature studies here. So kind of losing out a little bit on that discount.
I think that's okay when you look at the state of the board.
Yeah, it seems just fine here. I do wonder, I was going to say, I wonder if Melira does want to go in and kill this priest aboard, though, just because of the potential for some, crazy answers that could come off of that Sethek.
For sure.
We must wield the
Speaking
power
of some
of
crazy stuff
death.
here.
You serve me now.
Headmaster going to do a double whammy here, basically killing the Mount Seller, and is going to put it back.
A wild miscalculation.
Oh, it was a spell burst effect. So the coin actually triggered the spell burst.
A mistake.
Yeah, I think Lady Triz just realized that too. The slight misorder there because of the spell burst. And Melira is going to just capitalize on that, go all in with the Soul of the Forest. Can push a lot of damage here.
Right. Yeah, you get rid of 1 problem, but there's still 6 other threats that are on the board.
Yeah.
And I feel all of this damage going face.
Yep, the 1 minion that can't go face, can only rush, going to kind of help clear up the board there. Ooh, and just in time, the Apotheosis coming into hand. But can Lady Triz find an answer with the Zephyrus? What would it find here? Brawl? Brawl doesn't even answer, though, because of the death rattles.
Yeah, it just leaves all those Treants on board. Can you? Well, no, because there's not even enough to be able to brawl in Breath of Dream or
Nope.
Breath either. So, do you just have to Frost Nova? Oh no.
Yeah, this is not. It's not going to be enough.
Oh no,
Yeah.
Lady Triz knows.
So Melira taking a win here with the Druid and going to tie up the series here 1-1, which means that now we're going to have to see the Priest versus the Highlander Hunter from Melira. And that's pretty interesting, I feel like, because Highlander Hunter has kind of fallen out of favor a little bit. There's been a lot of face hunter and more aggressive hunter decks, but kind of on ladder, Highlander Hunter just hasn't been performing quite as well as some of the other hunter lists.
Yeah, we haven't seen too much of the Highlander Hunter. It's definitely fallen out of favor for the last couple of weeks, so I'm really surprised to see that Malira is still running it. But at the same time, Malira has been one of those players that has gone more with familiarity rather than going with kind of what's been meta. And I feel as though the Highlander Hunter has definitely been one of her strong points in the last couple of weeks. So seeing the Highlander Hunter doesn't surprise me when it's Malira and that I know is piloting this deck.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to mention a couple of cards here in this Highlander Hunter. There is one copy of Ooze. This is kind of, in a way, an older list. Still running Transfer Student, but also running the Frizz Kindle Roost. And there's a copy of Scale Rider in here. And then topping out with the Dragon Queen Alexstrasza. And there's that Frizz right there that I just mentioned.
Frizz is really great to have in this package, though, because you have things like Fairy Dragon. You also have your Primordial Explorers and your Scale Riders. Just lots of ways to really just like and the VSF Fey Wings and things like that that'll be really helpful to have this Frizz.
Yeah. And I think one of the biggest ones as well is discounting that Dragon Queen Alexstrasza herself and having a 7-mana Dragon Queen Alexstrasza. There's that Ooze as well. Not probably going to do a whole lot in this matchup.
Job's done.
Okay, just playing with the Fairy Dragon. Good for some tempo.
To my side.
Play something on curve every turn here.
I'm gonna win big.
All right.
Okay, Mind Game, Silence, or Initiation. Initiation it is.
Picks up the Diving Griffin. Decides to go for that instead of playing the Frizz. But another 7 damage to face. Turn 4.
Turn 4. It's Hunter. Smork. What a slow start for Lady Triz here. I like the Fairy Dragon play over the Acidic Swamp Ooze on turn 2. I feel as though being able to not have a chance to target down the Fairy Dragon has just meant consistent damage.
Yeah,
So I really like that.
Yeah, I think against Priest and against Rogue, the Fairy Dragon really has more of an opportunity to shine than in some of the other matchups.
Yeah, look, you can't penance it.
Yeah, and has to go for a penance that doesn't even clear. Do we just see the Zixor come down here? Maybe Zixor and a hero power? No, gonna Faceless the 4-1. Kind of just capitalizes on the fact that Lady Triz had a pretty unimpactful penance.
Yeah. Coin. Here's the initiation that got picked up from the Vulpera Scoundrel.
I think this is probably the first time I have ever even seen this card be used. Like, Initiation is just not a card that people play.
Nope. But when there's a Vulpera Scoundrel, there's a way. But here it is. 2 minions that cannot be touched by spells.
And the Shadow Word Ruin does clear the Feywing here now because it is over the 5 attack or more.
I wonder.
Your mind is not your.
Yeah, this is kind of awkward here. It felt like a choice between this Cabal or that Shadowward Ruin.
Mm-hmm.
But I like the choice to go with the Cabal here, just on the fact that Melira is now on turn 7, and we all know Highlander Hunter on turn 7. They always have Bran, right? It's always Bran.
They always have Bran.
Yeah, I like playing the taunt there, but maybe the Zephyrus just deals with it pretty easily.
Sap
Yeah.
or Shadowword Pain. Ooh.
The Rot Nest doesn't do anything though because there's no other dragon in hand.
Mm-hmm.
It does activate the Corrosive Breath though.
Yeah. Hard choice, really. But Primordial Explorer is going to be the one that Melira chooses. Does activate the Corrosive Breath, so we should be able to set the Fairy Dragon as well. Or just leave it. No, I think we trade.
And now we see the ooze come down.
Tempo Ooze.
Yep. Wow. Is there really anything that Lady Triss can do here?
Taunt?
I wonder.
The spell burst effect from the Wretched Tutor only kills half of the board there. She can't even play the Raise Dead because it would kill her by taking 3 damage.
What is Elun's will?
I don't see an out.
Hmm. I do feel like this is a pretty favored matchup for the Hunter, but the hand from Lady Triss just did not help her out at all this game.
Well,
yeah, that's gonna be enough on board.
Well, gotta say, Lady Triss put up a heck of a fight to get it to get this far in the bracket. We gotta give her a lot of respect and commendations for coming in as a newcomer and taking out some of the top for the Super Pro Gamer Pro Hearthstone circuit. But Melira is going to be the one that goes into the grand finals. Very exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. And can you just show or tell us one more time, where was Melira sitting in the standings?
Melira was actually sitting in 6th. So this is a big win for her.
Yeah, absolutely. We talked about it earlier as well. Kind of that 6, 7, 8, 9 spots were pretty closely contested, I feel like. So Melira being able to move into this finals and, like you mentioned, get 75 or 100 points here, that's a pretty big win for her this week. Even if she loses this next match, getting that 75 points is pretty huge for her being able to move towards that grand finals at the beginning of October. And I do want to kind of mention that before we go into a break here, again, the first weekend in October will be the championships for all of the games, Hearthstone, CSGO, and League of Legends. We will be switching up the schedule slightly. Instead of Sunday nights, Hearthstone will actually be on the Friday nights. And something really cool for all of the Hearthstone fans, and I'm sure these players, the championship is actually going to be a slightly different format with a best of 5. So all of the players will be bringing 4 decks and then banning 1, and we'll have to get a win with the 3 remaining decks that they have. But that's a really great chance for a lot of those players to show their lineups and their deck building, because they will have to add in 1 more deck on top of what they've already been doing. So I am really excited to see that that championship on that first weekend of October.
I'm really excited too. It's going to be such a great time. And I feel as though this new format that we're going to be having for the Grand Championships is something that a lot of these players are very familiar with. So, really looking forward to seeing those deck building skills and those lineup skills come out for sure for that first week of October. But we still have more Hearthstone to show you. It is going to be Melira and Linthesis in our grand finals when we come back after this break.
For a long time, we had to prove ourselves. But we always knew what we were capable of. We knew when the time came, we would be ready for anything. Our numbers keep rising. And so do we.
So I'm gonna hold on promoting you this quarter. Cool?
Drop the taco. Get in the car. Does this Sentra feel like a compromise to you? Wait, what? The handling is good, right? No compromise there. Nope.
Watch this.
Rear automatic braking. So if this Nissan Sentra isn't going to compromise, why should you? You're right. Atta girl.
The all-new Nissan Sentra with more standard safety features than any other car in its class.
No one knows where it comes from. Why some have it and some don't. It's the fighting spirit. It consumes fear and weakness. It stands ready to fight whatever shape the battle takes. Because as long as there are battles, there will always be Marines.
Throwing caution to the wind. I'll take a chance and let you in. Just take my hand and take me home tonight. We defeat all impossibilities. Yeah, you and me. We'll take our hearts and run free into the
broadcast means that we're in front of the computer for a long time. So go ahead and check out some of these blocks glasses by Zenny Gaming. They are great for dealing with the blue light that comes out from your computer, and you can get them in a whole bunch of options and customizations to make them perfect just for you. So go check those out from Zenny Gaming. And let's get into the action, shall we? It's still Dragon Rider and myself calling the action for this week of Hearthstone for the Supergirl Gamer Pro circuit, and we are already at our grand finals. We have Melira versus Linthesis at the very end of the road. If we want to take a quick look at the bracket to see exactly what has happened for this evening, we've had a lot of action. We have had a lot of action.
Yeah, we absolutely have. I think we've kind of squeezed in a few extra games here and there where we've had the chance to. So hopefully everybody watching has enjoyed that, getting to see a few more games. But yeah, we had the newcomer Lady Triz up against a Melira in that top 4, but Melira taking that series down against that Priest at the very end there to move into the finals against Linthesis. And we saw previously Linthesis taking down Valera Light. So we are going to have a Melira versus Linthesis finals. And let's go ahead and talk real quickly about the decks that these players brought. So we've seen both of these players a little bit already tonight, but Melira bringing the Guardian Animals, Mount Seller. It's actually kind of more the Dragon package, I guess, variant of Druid. No overflows in this one. Melira also bringing the Priest, Galakrond Priest, and Highlander Hunter, and Linthesis bringing the kind of Lorekeeper Polkelt version of Face Hunter, the Stealth Rogue, and her own Druid, but this one is the Guardian Animals with the overflows and does not have the Dragon package.
Mm-hmm. There's also a pretty big key difference between the two Druids as well, is that Linthesis is actually running the animated broomstick. Even just one copy of it, we've been able to get a chance to see on broadcast how impactful that can really be, especially if you have something like the Lake Thresher versus the Rogue. It's really good at cleaning up everything. So Melira is not going to have that to her advantage versus the Rogue from Linthesis, but Linthesis will be able to have that if like the Hunter gets a chance to develop the board, or vice versa on the Druid.
Yeah, absolutely. And even the broomstick coming out a bit later in the game, pairing with the portals and the dragons that come out of those portals later from the Ysera, you know, in the mirror match potentially, or against Priest, that can definitely swing the board one way or the other for Linthesis. So yeah, kind of an interesting inclusion there. But you did mention previously the Breath of Dreams being run because this is kind of that dragon package. It does give Melira's Druid list a little bit more ramp potential and I guess more consistent finding of the ramp.
Yeah, that is true. So Melira does have one copy of the Wild Growth versus the 2 from Linthesis, the 2 Breath of Dreams versus the 0 from Linthesis, and then you also have the Overgrowths, of course, 2 for each deck, but there is a lot more ramp that Melira can find in this version of the list that she's running than what Linthesis can. The big thing for me though is that like Emerald Explorer, like you have to have an Emerald Explorer in your hand or the Ysera in order to actually get that second piece of value from the Breath of Dreams.
There's a few less dragons in this version because of the Guardian Animals package. So yeah, it does make that a little bit trickier to pull off.
But we have the bans that have come through, so let's talk about those real fast. Melira's Priest has been banned out, so she will be running the grand finals with the Druid and the Hunter. And conversely, on Linthesis' side, the Hunter is banned, so no Face Hunter here. It's just going to be that Stealth Rogue as well as the Guardian Animals Druid. So, it's as close to a mirror as you can get for at least the Druids, and then you've got the Hunter and the Rogue. Very exciting stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So first game is the Druid for Linthesis and Hunter for Lyra. And not much ramp here in this hand. Kind of lacking some ramp.
Yeah, and that's where I feel like the hunter can start doing some really, really good things, especially because the animal companion finds Hover. Melira is off to a fast start.
And we might be encountering a slight spectator issue here. We will try to get you Melira's hand as soon as we can. But in the meantime, I mean, Melira did throw out the animal companion there, has kind of gotten on board pretty quickly, pushed a little bit of damage, you know, as hunters do. But Scale Rider coming down and pinging for 2, so there is a dragon in hand there. Still no ramp. Still no ramp for Linthysys.
It's just gonna have to be call and response for Linthysys. As you can see, the Bog Beam comes out, has to play for 3, and on curve we're seeing the Frizz come through from Melira, which was not something that she had opted to do in our last series, but will be very, very impactful in this next match.
Yeah. Drawn quite a bit of these beasts already on Linthysys' side. Might have to just drop one of the 5-cost beasts here on turn 6. I guess can kind of move into a turn 7 Mount Seller with the Iron Bark. But Melira is just putting out so much damage here. Like, so much damage very quickly.
I like the Og Merchant on the Frizz to just give it the Divine Shield to be able to help clear out the board. I think this is going to be a pretty fast one, given the state of things, and still no ramp for Linthysys. Has to play out this Teacher's Pet for the taunt.
Yeah, it's really the only thing, but feels a little bad.
We'll see how Melira decides to answer this. Could just use the Frizz and throw that into, get the value trade, and see what pops out of the Teacher's Pet. So we will see what comes through there. But there's still 7 damage on board, 9 if you're going to include the hero power, and unfortunately we're still experiencing that spectator bug, so we don't know what else is in Melira's hand at the moment, but if it's been as quickly as we've seen it come through, then I'm expecting that there's some amount of answers in Melira's hand.
Do you think Mount Seller Ironbark next turn is going to be enough?
Does that find Silverback Patriarch?
I mean, we've already seen a few of them tonight, so yes.
So that's there's my answer, is that it might be enough to be an answer. But this is still 7 damage going face and a lot more here. Doesn't want to deal with the bloated serpent on board, so Zixer is not going to smack into that. But yeah, I don't know. Exotic Mount Seller Ironbark might have to be the answer here.
I mean, that Primordial Explorer, though,
now
just...
how about...
Yeah, it does mess with that plan, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, Linthysys could Ironbark the 1/2, but that feels so bad. It just doesn't really do a lot.
Oh, there it is!
Nailed it. Nailed it.
Nailed it.
All right. Yep. Gonna go for the bloated. Being even more bloated here. All right. Yeah.
Okay, so now we're in a position where Melira has to deal with 2 taunts instead of just the one, so finding the Silverback Patriarch was definitely a saving grace. The Primordial Explorer can easily deal with one of these creatures, but it can't deal with both. So I don't expect there to be lethal this turn coming out from Melira. But there's still a lot of damage. Now, here's the choice, though. If you have the ability in hand to be able to deal with one of these serpents, do you try to save the Primordial Explorer for the Mount Seller?
I think so. I was just thinking that. So. Okay, so yeah, this.
There's the answer.
Yep, this allows, and that was just drawn, I believe, as well. So, yeah, Melira gets to clear the board completely here, and still squeezes in the hero power to put Linthesis at 10.
Exotic Mount Seller Lightning Bloom? No, I'm just kidding. Overflow is definitely the answer to this. I'm really... Okay, Crystal Power is exactly what Linthesis wanted to see. That helps to keep Linthesis in this game.
Yeah, and with nothing on board, that Felma is going to wake up and hit face. So that's an extra 5 damage that Linthesis has to consider here.
Let's see.
And I mean, with everything just on board, that's 2 away from lethal without the heal. So, yeah, I kind of agree with Linthesis there, just playing out that healing. Probably not the situation she really wants to be using it on, but I think she had to.
Big ol' Whelp draws a card. I think Melira is still hoping to find lethal with that hand. This is 11 damage presented on board, and that's 13 with the hero power. I am totally wrong. I'm thinking that it already attacked. Okay, 7 damage has to be found.
There's no broom in hand to allow that pressure to clear multiple minions here. Again, Linthesis is kind of forced to try to go in on the Mount Seller and hope that it's enough. Another picture! How many is this tonight? Oh my gosh.
We've seen quite a few, not just in this series, but for other series as well. That's super helpful.
Can't win them all.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, but even still, the amount of damage that's on board is not coming over back. Is not going to be enough to be able to deal with it all. But yeah, you try.
Right. Yeah, and so Melira taking the win with the Highlander Hunter. Again, it's performed pretty well for her tonight. And, you know, maybe part of that is the comfort, like you mentioned. But now is going to have to get a win with her Druid. And Linthesis still has her Druid available, as well as the Rogue.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think we're going to see a mirror match, or do you think Linthesis switches to the Rogue?
I mean, I personally want to see the mirror match. I'm not saying that's the right decision, but just because I love Druid, I think it would be really fun. And to see the differences that both of these players have made to their Druid deck in action would be really, really cool to see. I think the Rogue is a better choice for the Druid, if we're gonna be just honest and give Linthesis the best shot that she can. But it wouldn't surprise me, honestly, to see either of these decks come out, just with the school of thought as well, that you're gonna have to get the mirror out of the way at some point.
Yeah. I completely agree with everything you just said there. I think the Rogue probably has the slightly better chance of taking the win versus the Druid, but even if she queues up the Rogue and then wins, she'll then have to get a win with the Druid anyways. So, you know, maybe just, I guess it depends on how she feels, and if getting a win with that rogue kind of helps put her in a situation where it helps her mentally, and maybe can mess a little bit with Malira's mentality, making Malira feel like now she's on a back foot potentially, and she lost the lead. There are some strategies where people can do things like that as well. So, but
well, it is the druid and the druid.
All right.
What do you know?
So we kind of mentioned already the differences between the lists, and right there we already see the Breath of Dreams for Malira and one of those wild growths for Lymphasis.
Yep. Breath of Dreams. No dragon in hand for Malira yet to be able to proc that secondary effect, but well, Lymphasis definitely has the ramp. Wild Growth number 2 now in the hand.
Yeah. And the nature studies making that ramp even cheaper.
Yeah. So, and the
More
overgrowth
ramp.
as well. I mean, you just go wild growth into overgrowth into guardian animals if you have it.
Oh my goodness, yeah. Ooh, those are
not
not
great.
not what she's looking for.
No. Definitely not.
Both guardian animals in hand too, but still kind of too far off of being able to play them. Picks up the Mount Seller for Lymphasis. Well,
yeah. Well, with the nature studies as well, you can't use the innervate in order to get the. Yeah, I don't use the force of nature. At least it's a board development there from Lyra.
it is, but with this exotic Mount Seller,
I supply only the finest
this just seems so good, right? Coin into nature studies, into free crystal power. Or free claw. Either
Claw would
way.
get rid of one of the Treants, so.
Yeah, crystal power does as well for the 2 damage. Ooh. And poisonous there. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good pickup.
Yeah, I mean, you can't necessarily just do the exotic Mount Seller for Malira either, but you're also still a mana away from being able to innervate out guardian animals or the exotic Mount Seller. I think playing at this teacher's pet is the by far best option. And you deal with the poisonous minion, so it's a little bit tougher to take this teacher's pet down.
Yeah.
But overflow here. Okay, wild growth. Using crystal power. My goodness.
I mean, this is kind of what happens when one of the decks finds that ramp and the other doesn't. Just the hand and the draws did not work out for Malira here. Again, you mentioned a bit earlier, though, I'm not going to count Druid out, even though we're in a Druid mirror. So I'm gonna say Druid is gonna win this match, but I'm not counting Malira's Druid out just yet because there is potential for her to kind of swing back. Does she have to double trade into the Mount Seller?
I think if you want to deny the Mount Seller value, I think you have to, and you know that you have the next guardian animals after that. But what's really unfortunate for Malira is, I think you draw just Lake Thresher.
My dream is your nightmare.
I think that's it.
So does she go for the Mount Seller herself then, instead? I mean, look at all this discounted stuff in hand. I think she goes for the Mount Seller this turn rather than the guardian animals.
Yeah, guardian animals, doesn't really help you in this case.
Yeah. Maybe if that other Thresher weren't in hand, it could be pretty good. But yeah, this just seems like the perfect chance for her to swing back into this game now.
Yeah, absolutely. Didn't even need the ramp to get there.
Yeah.
Still sitting in the bottom of the deck.
Okay.
Fog beam?
Yeah. There's a rush. Found it. Crystal Power maybe goes into the bloated python here, and the 4-1 can trade into the 4-4 that comes out of that. Oh my gosh!
And a second one.
Well, yeah. That helps. That helped quite a bit.
Yes, it does. Ysera is
Now-
not enough to get through this wall.
No, but there's a broomstick. How many portals can Linthus's pull here? Because, like I mentioned at the beginning, that broomstick working with the portals could just, really turn this board around again.
Oh, over? Okay. Overgrowth instead.
Yeah, okay. We get a little bit of draw here.
Oh!
Wow.
Just barely. Well, you can now innervate out the... Oh, another diving!
Oh my
missile?
gosh!
What the heck?
We have seen so many rushers come out of these Mount Seller effects here. Oh, and playing the broomstick here to get the Mount Seller to be able to trade as well.
Yeah.
As well as the broomstick itself. The broomstick does have rush. So the broomstick can trade into something here.
Pull those in.
Victor. Wow.
Break clears. Oh, left the mook
Okay.
huh? Okay.
We must stop this corruption.
Ooh. Plate Proto Drake is not bad, but maybe discovering some one-cost spells, like another Nature Studies could be pretty good. Discover something else on top of that.
Well, I see
Yep.
nothing else to do but overflow.
Yeah.
In time, all things are possible.
Wow, only got
Nope.
one portal out of that.
And just pulled all of the beasts in addition to the guardian animals.
Yep.
Not quite as effective as what the deck wants to do, but does find a way to clear the taunt out of the way, which also leaves Melira with some pretty lackluster answers for this 8/8.
Yeah. No animated broomstick in Melira's deck, so you can't even Lake Thresher and deal something like that.
A simple spell should do.
Alright, Cobalt Spellkin.
Okay.
Ooh.
Interesting.
Huh.
Well, I'd like the Surger, I think.
Now how about...
I like Surger too. Shando Wildclaw would have been interesting if you still had beasts in the deck, but
Yeah.
it's one lone Thresher.
Okay.
Ooh.
Alright, this guardian animal's more effective for Linthusys than it would be for Melira, so Linthusys still just getting so much value out of her cards every turn. Going to draw more with this Twilight Runner. How many portals?
None.
None, apparently. Okay. All the portals are buried at the bottom here. Maybe debating about playing the Wild Growth.
Yeah, for excessive mana.
Yeah, but I don't think it's necessary here. There's enough of a board, and I think Melira has already kind of shown that she doesn't really have an answer because she left the first 2 minions that were there already, so...
Yep. I think for the beginning, this was always going to be a game that goes in Linthasis's favor. It just, from the early start, being able to get the ramp, it's so important in the mirror match. And now, we're in a position where Linthasis has the rogue. Winning out the mirror match means that now the rogue has a bit of an edge over that druid. So we'll see how this one goes.
Yeah, so again, this is going to be a matter of that ramp. Melira is going to need to find her ramp, find nature studies into potential more ramp, something to kind of get into those later game pieces that she's looking for. Otherwise, she's just going to fall too far behind, and Linthasis will just be able to quickly beat her down and not really leave Melira with any options.
Name of the game has been ramp for these past couple of matches, but we are on the last game of the night. Linthasis has to win with the rogue, and Melira has to win with the druid to take home that top prize of 100 points for this week.
And we see Linthasis with the rogue finding the 1-drop, but look at this, the Emerald Explorer and double Breath of Dream.
Yes.
That is, talk about dreams, that's the dream. And add in the Lightning Bloom too. Let's go. She is going all in on this ramp here.
I mean, why not, right? It's going to get you one step closer to being able to play out things like your Emerald Explorer. Going to be maybe awkward for the next couple of turns, depending on what she draws. Should be able to use the hero power, though, to get rid of these 1 health minions. This is definitely the start Melira wanted.
Yeah, I am questioning a little bit throwing out that Lightning Bloom so quickly. I think maybe she could have just been patient with that Lightning Bloom, but...
Saw the opportunity, wanted to take it.
Yeah. I mean, there's not a lot of pressure necessarily coming out from Linthasis yet. So yeah, just taking that opportunity, but these Twilight Runners coming in hand are pretty interesting here because she can just play one of those out on turn 5 next turn, or she can coin the Emerald Explorer. If she goes for the Twilight Runners, though, this hand from Linthasis, all these backstab, not really that great against Druid.
Yeah, that's not going to be super helpful when most of the minions that you're playing are on turn 5. And also with 4 or 5 health, that is very true.
But the Secret Passage, able to find Linthasis, at least a little bit more to do there, and kind of buffs up this weapon here. But next turn for Linthasis is looking slightly sad again, I feel like. Unless she draws into something, but... Melira gonna actually play out the Explorer.
Well, I really like this because there's 9 damage presented on board, and Emerald Explorer has 8 health. So if you're doing the math there, that's definitely going to be something to help. But this is where the backstabs can come in handy.
Yep, and this Slayer pickup as well.
Perfect.
What a perfect clear for Linthasis. Very clean, and still gets the push. Quite a bit of damage now.
Yeah.
And now Melira kind of in the same situation that she was last turn. But there's even more pressure on the board from Linthasis this time. Oh.
Yeah, Twilight Runners, not necessarily the answer that you want here. So I think playing up the Ghidra with the Bog theme is as good as you can get.
Yeah. I mean, it does take away that Bog theme paired with the exotic Mount Scylla for next turn, but yeah, she kind of had to answer that turn. Otherwise, it might have just been game over.
Turn 5 Jandis, though. Ooh.
Can't use the backstab.
I really like that preserve board.
Yeah. I mean, and, you know, going back and mentioning the deck list, this is the stealth rogue version where the only 2 weapons that are being run are the 2 copies of Hooked Scimitar. So, yeah, just using the dagger she had equipped there and maintaining the board. Very, very good for this deck list specifically because there's not going to be a lot of big weapon potential in the deck. So really kind of has to get a lot of damage through with the minions.
Power coming through. I mean, there's been a lot of damage getting done here, but that's not very much to do this turn. It's very passive from Lyra. Now, Lenthesis is able to push out 14 damage plus Sinister Strike and Hero Power.
That would have just been game without that healing.
Yeah.
Yeah. She has another 4 with the Sinister Strike and weapon. That 5 healing last turn literally actually did save Melira from death the last turn.
6, though. If anything survives here, that's game over.
Yeah, Melira needs to find something here.
There's something.
Bog Beam.
Emerald Explorer?
Yep. And the free Bog Beam can clear the 5/2. Ooh, she looked like she was hovering over the Mount Cellar, but yeah, she's got to go for the Explorer. Guaranteed taunt.
Alexstrasza for next turn.
Yeah, gonna hope that she can live one more turn and put herself back to 15.
This is running 1 copy of Sap.
I don't know about you, Nekra. I'm like feeling so tense right now. I'm like, I'm like at the edge of my seat right now, just seeing what is gonna happen here.
Well, backstab can come through. It's not enough, but it's able to get the clear. So yes, Lenthesis loses the board, but yeah, but it's not enough. You're still missing 1 damage.
And then she's gonna get the news that Melira found this Alexstrasza to put herself back to 15.
Oh man. At least the Sinister Strike didn't get used here, though. That would have been so sad.
Yeah.
I bring life.
But there is the Alexstrasza. There is back to 15 health, and okay.
Well,
found
I mean,
a Hooked Scimitar.
Yeah. But again, like I mentioned, that is the only weapon. Well, there's 2 copies of it, but that's it. The rest of the deck is a few spells and then minions. So if Melira now keeps this board, Lenthesis is going to struggle to get back in it. She's going to have to find eviscerates and damage over the top or a sap to get through a taunt. That's going to be it.
But Lenthesis is also top decking right now, so even if she finds Eviscerate, she'll have nothing to combo with it in order to actually get the extra 2 damage.
Yeah, and she already used 1 copy of Secret Passage, I believe, right? So...
Yeah, there's only 1 more left.
Yeah, so she can top deck into the other Secret Passage to find something, and that would enable the Eviscerate combo. But it's going to have to basically be the Secret Passage into more answers here. And this is the point now. Melira has figured out how to stabilize.
Well, I don't know if she figured it out more as it was handed to her in terms of finding the right pieces. The Alexstrasza was certainly a breath of fresh air for Melira and a lifeline to be able to stay into this game. With the teacher's pet hitting the field as well. Yikes. Kama is not a secret passage.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, a little bit of luck for Malira, yes, finding some of those pieces, but you know, in order to win games and win tournaments like these, players have to have the combination of the skill and the luck.
Oh, for sure.
It's worked out for Malira so far.
No, for absolutely. I'm not trying to take away from her prestige at all. She's been such a phenomenal player in these last few weeks. And that's it. Linthesis has spotted that Malira has lethal no way out, and Malira takes another for her first place, excuse me.
Yeah, and you know, I definitely just want to say, I don't think that you were trying to take anything away from Malira there, but I think the great players, and we see this even from some pro players, they recognize that they do have that skill to get there. I believe Malira has that, but they also do recognize that they have to get lucky sometimes. And, you know, over multiple weeks, we've kind of seen that, right? That there are these players who week in and week out, they have now proven that they do have that skill, but it's just a matter of that those pieces of luck coming in to help assist and help just push that luck to the next level so that they can get to this point exactly. So I feel like it was well played by both sides. And, you know, just I think Linthesis had some luck in the Druid Mirror with finding her ramp. And,
that's true.
You know, and then it just, the luck kind of ran out with that rogue deck, but well played by both players, I feel like. But congratulations to Malira on taking down this entire week and getting that 100 points that I feel like she has got to be extremely happy about getting all of those points this week.
Yeah, especially when she came into this week tied with Trojanator with 225 points. We've now seen divisive 3rd and 4th places come through and 6th and 7th places come through. So Malira, especially after looking at week number 6 where she got 2nd, was definitely hungry for that win.
Yeah, absolutely. So I love this every week. This is so exciting. It's so much fun. And we've really gotten to see these players kind of shine at different points throughout these weeks.
Yeah.
But we only have one more week of kind of this regular season. What do you think we're going to see next week?
I mean, with nothing new on the horizon, I think we're gonna see more of the same. I definitely hope we see more Druid. Obviously, my favorite deck right now, and one of my favorite classes ever. But you know, it's really fun, especially with Malira. You know, playing a lot of decks that she's super comfortable with, like bringing the Highlander Hunter back and getting a win with that. And it's really, really impressive to see the skill that she has to pilot those decks and make them work when they're not necessarily the best or the top in the meta right now. So that's been super great to see. I'm expecting maybe a little bit more of the same from Malira since she's shown a tendency to play some of those more familiar decks. But definitely seeing a lot of aggro coming through, which has been made our games really fast.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, I really am interested to see, again, we talked about it early on tonight, but how kind of those 6, 7, 8, and maybe 9, you know, kind of positions on the standings pan out next week, because next week is the last week to qualify for that top 8. So next week is it. That's the last chance. So it's going to be intense.
Yeah. It's going to be a lot on the line for this last and final week of play coming up next Sunday. But if you're interested in seeing the standings during the week up until the next week that we play, then go over to our website, www.supergirlgamerpro.com. You can see all of the other events that we're running as well with CSGO and League of Legends. And then you can also get a chance to see our standings and just also what the Supergirl Gamer Pro is up to. Also follow us on social media so that you can find out exactly who's made it through. That'll be on Facebook and Twitter at SG Gamer Pro. You'll be able to find some updates there as well if that's more your speed. But Dawn, that's it from us tonight. And then we've got one more week.
One more week. I'm so excited for it, and I think I'm even more excited for the championship that first week of October. So we will mention it again next week to lead up to it. But yeah, just in case, there are a few weeks in between. So like Necker said, go to the website, follow on social media, and make sure that you know when all of that is happening so you don't miss any of the action. But unless you have anything else, I think that is it for us tonight.
That is going to be it for us tonight. Thank you, everybody, so much for watching, tuning in, and supporting our players as well as our staff. It's been a great night, and we'll see you next Friday for CSGO, the final week.
It's not just the ships, the armor, or the aircraft. It's something more. It's the will to fight and determination to win, found inside each and every Marine that answers a nation's call. Battle 1.
So I'm gonna hold on promoting you this quarter. Cool?
Drop the taco. Get in the car. Does this Sentra feel like a compromise to you?
Wait, what?
The handling, it's good, right? Compromise there.
Nope.
Watch this.
Breathe. Rear automatic braking. So if this Nissan Sentra isn't gonna compromise, why should you?
You're right.
Atta girl.
The all-new Nissan Sentra with more standard safety features than any other car in its class.